Well, hello and welcome to our continued live coverage of the European Gymnastics Championships from Leipzig in Germany. Today is the turn of the Apparatus specialists to take centre stage. We have 5 finals with British hopes in 3 of them. Can triple back master Luke Whitehouse make it a three-peat in the floor final? Harry Hepworth will be after his teammate's title though, and later goes in the rings final too, where he'll face off with another GB star, strongman Courtney Tulloch, who's looking for his first European rings title. So lots to look forward to, and as always, 6-time European champion Beth Tweddle is with me for today's action, and we are delighted to welcome 2012 Olympic medalist Sam Oldham to the studio to take us through the Apparatus finals as well. And let me tell you, Sam is a high-flying, high-bar specialist in his own right. Sam, welcome to the team. It's brilliant to have you here, mate, it really is. So let me take you back to your European experience. The first time you popped up out of the juniors into the senior ranks. What was that like for you?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Matt, and it was an incredible experience. I was alongside Beth. Beth was one of the senior members of the team. Yeah. I was very much a deer in the headlights, new to the scene, but so excited by the atmosphere. I remember competing in that high bar final. There were 15,000 people in the arena.
You smashed it.
Yeah, standing in the tunnel, the stadium was shaking. Walked out there and I did a really great routine and was competing against some of my idols, Epke Zonderland. It was just an amazing experience. I remember someone saying afterwards that when the mascot came to shake your hand, you looked like you were going to knock him over, because I was so nervous and so focused. But some incredible memories from that competition.
Brilliant. Well, you certainly made an impact during your career. You really did. And Beth, I mean, 6 European titles yourself. Which one would you say was the most memorable for you?
I think you've got to say the first one in 2006. It hadn't been done. It was something that I'd kind of been building towards, so to finally achieve it and then kind of know that you can build on that going in to the rest of the Olympic cycle and then obviously for the rest of my career.
Trailblazer. Absolute trailblazer. Well, first up for us today is the men's floor final, and Great Britain have 2 athletes with great medal chances. Defending champion Luke Whitehouse and the emerging triple threat talent of Harry Hepworth.
Absolutely world-class tumbling from Harry Hepworth.
This European Championships, I think it's been what I've wanted it to be, you know, making the 3 finals. I've done my job, essentially, so going into them finals, I'm just going to try and do a bit better than qualifications.
This is the best routine for me by far.
Luke Whitehouse retains his European title.
Luke, you're going for your 3rd European title on the floor in a row. Can you do it?
I believe I can do it, yeah. The build-up's been incredible. Going up against Harry as well, we trained together, we put all these hours in together, so I believe it's going to just be a battle between me and Harry for the gold, so yeah, so excited.
Usually in floor finals I get a bit bouncy for some reason, so I'm just going to try and control that and just do better than I did in qualification. I mean, being in the floor final is a privilege, as it is anyway, but it'll be good to experience that with Luke as well.
This is our 3rd Europeans together, been to the Olympics together. We've seen the graft that both of us have been putting in, so for us to get that success would be, it'd be really good.
Are we going to be seeing your huge triple back on the floor again?
Of course.
No, stop it!
Wow.
The crowd love it when I do it as well, and to stick it yesterday, last up on floor, was incredible.
3 finals, 3 medals?
Hopefully, yeah.
That sounds all right, doesn't it?
Not too bad.
Well, here are the finalists, and here are the gymnasts that those lads are up against. The masters of control, strength and explosive skill on this 12 by 12 metre square. This will be a final that's full of twists and turns, and with those 2 Brits in the mix, let's find out if Luke Whitehouse can make it a golden triple in more ways than one. So on we go then with the men's floor final. These individual specialists on this piece of apparatus. The top 8 from qualification. Nazar Chapurni kicks things off for us. Oh!
And just a toe out on that first very difficult somersault. The gymnasts are building difficulty, double twisting, double tuck. Each of these moves are given a value. The most difficult 8 add together to create the score. So we've had 3 huge tumbles already. Here we go again. 2.5 twist into straight front, but that's the second step out. And floor today is going to be won by the gymnasts who can land all their tumbles without error. That's the non-acrobatic section. New since the Olympics, the gymnasts have to add a balance. He was a little hesitant there, but picks up now into a big full twisting double back. That was very clean, beautifully done, but as the opening gymnast, there was a bit of few marks given away there.
Tentative, of course.
I think that's the word, Matt.
It's really difficult, isn't it, to be out there setting the benchmark, basically, for the rest of the gymnasts that are following here. 14.1 is what Chapurni scored in qualification.
Well, he was competing yesterday in the all-around competition, so gymnasts will start to get a little bit jaded, and the real apparatus specialists will come into their own now and be fresh. But it was very impressive with his landings yesterday, not so precise today, and he's down a little bit on his difficulty compared to the rest of the field, but a very, very light frame gymnast, and has got real good spatial awareness. There, the 2.5 twist. You could see he twisted a little bit early and then drifted to one side. And it doesn't matter how far he step out the floor, 1 foot will be a 0.1. And this was a really good non-acrobatic skills, as Christine was on about the flare work. And a big finish. Half in, half out.
So difficult, isn't it, when you've got the skill and it just doesn't come off for you like that, and containing all of that power is so difficult in that 12 by 12 metre square.
He was just a little bit offline on that tumble that went right out, wasn't he?
Big talent, only 22 years of age.
Feels like he's been on the scene longer,
it doesn't it? But we'll certainly be seeing a lot of him in the next few years, building up to the Olympic Games.
And we wait now for the judges to give their verdict on the score before the next gymnast performs.
It's brilliant when you get the specialists out here, because you can really see the difference between their difficulty and execution. You'll see 2 scores that come up on the scoreboard, and then both the difficulty and execution are added together. So 5-1 on the difficulty, 8.266 on execution, 13.166 is the first score to be posted by Ukraine's Nazar Chapurni. Chalking up now with a huge opening tumble of the triple back is Great Britain's Luke Whitehouse. So 22 years old. He qualified with the 4th highest score, but can he retain his title here? Luke Whitehouse going for gold number 3 at the Euros on floor.
Hold your breath. Oh, not too bad, chest down a little bit. It's a massive tumble, gives him huge difficulty. Double twist into double front, just that hop forwards. He has the most difficult routine in this final alongside teammate and training partner Harry Hepworth. Really need to be precise on the landings. That was very precise. Double pike front somersault. This routine's getting better as it's going forwards. The balance, one of the new requirements on the floor. Big triple twist, that's good, nice and secure. Final tumble. He'll have to stick it. And he does! Well, a few little mistakes, errors at the start.
It's going to take some beating, that, though. It was a great routine from the lad from Leeds.
Fabulous work. You can see all the teammates down there clapping. He worked all around yesterday, so didn't finish until last evening in this competition arena and straight back on. And what a great performance.
I mean, as far as difficulty is concerned, him and his teammate Harry both have the hardest routines in the final.
Well, that was just a lovely tumble, wasn't it? We're so used to seeing him land the triple back without any steps at all, just a small pace forwards, made us gasp a little, but he built on that, and that was really the only error. Beautiful technique on all his work, lifts high, 2 twists, 2 somersaults, spots the landing, so disciplined with the arms.
Well, 3, I think, of the tumbles absolutely nailed the landings. And I think you're right, because we're so used to him being so perfect, it was a bit of a surprise, that chest down on the first tumble, but big difficulty there, the triple back somersault. It should go into first place, but there will be a challenge, and I think his teammate Harry could see an opportunity.
Well, it's going to be mid to high 14s that's going to win this. 14.5 is a great score for Great Britain's Luke Whitehouse. 8-3 on the execution. Look at the difficulty score, 6-1.
Well, it lays the gauntlet down for the rest of the field, doesn't it?
Well, that's a big score, and that's going to take some beating.
It is, absolutely.
It's the difficulty that stands him out above the rest.
Well, this lad here is one of his main competitors, Lorenzo Min Casali of Italy. He was battling it out in the mixed team final where they got a bronze, but Lorenzo Min Casali is the highest qualifier. Great with his execution. He's down on the difficulty a little bit in comparison to Luke.
And he chooses to start the routine with the balance. Steadies himself. Up comes his first tumble. Super, oh, just that pace out. You lose a 0.1 for the step and a 0.1 for being out as well. So quite costly, but that was as clean as you like. Twists and double somersaults combined, and another precise landing. The gymnasts have to show their flexibility as well as their ability to balance. And as we said earlier, the 8 most difficult elements added to make the total difficulty score. That was a super 2.5 twist into straight front. He floats his tumbles. Oh, full twisting double back. Just a little scurry back there. Well, it had its moments.
There's going to be tense in this, isn't there, at the finish? There really is. It's going to be very, very close. Nobody's holding back. They're going all out. But it's those landings that are so vital, Craig.
Well, he had a 14.433 in qualification with a landing fault, a 0.1 out the floor, so it's replicated the same fault. However, it depends just what the judges think of the rest of it. He's a very stylish gymnast. This is a huge tumble. 2 somersaults with 2 twists in the straight position. And this was really nice. This is a combination bonus, so a double twist into a double front somersault. You get the bonus for each skill and also a bonus for joining the 2 together. And that's a very favoured skill. And we'll see a lot of that in this floor final. I would be surprised if it goes above 14.5. And I think it'll just be his difficulty. I think his execution is right up there. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I do think so. He's very stylish, isn't he? Look, all these tumbles, knees locked together, and there, chest right up. If the chest is pointing to the floor when you land, the judges deduct a bit, but he was really very clean on all those landings.
Well, we don't want to rush the judges, that's for sure. But the score is in. Now it's 13.966. Well, he's in second as it stands at the moment, but Great Britain's Luke Whitehouse leading the men's floor final with a score of 14.5. Next from Israel is Artem Dolgopyat. He's 27 years old, is the oldest competitor in this particular final. He's two-time European champion on this piece and a world champion back in 2023. And he also took the gold at the Tokyo Olympics on floor. So, a nervous wait for Luke.
Well, this gymnasts have bags of experience. Double twisting, double straight. No mistake in staying inside the floor. If there's anybody that can challenge Luke in this competition, I was just about to say it would be this gymnast, but that's a full mark. You can't come back from that. But look at the power, down the side, double twisting, double back. Beautiful 2.5 twist into an immediate double front somersault. Lovely work down on the floor. Hovers above the area. Into the balance, little bit of a wobble. And he didn't really hold that at all. Not the performance we're used to seeing at all from Dolgopyat. Big finish, but to me there were too many mistakes. He'll be down in 4th place. He'll be absolutely devastated with that performance.
What a shame. I mean, he was the second highest qualifier, Chris. And obviously, we were talking about his achievements throughout his career. He came here maybe with a, I don't know, maybe a little bit of expectation. Who knows?
Probably, and he's the other gymnast with the high difficulty score. So he's the one that could challenge, really, Luke with that 6-1. He's got a 5-8. But this tumble, as he took off, I thought, wow, he's going high on this. Here we are now. He went up for the double pike. He was so high and he just didn't have enough rotation. You have to pitch the height and the rotation and marry them so that you can land on your feet.
Very difficult tumble that though in a piked position, isn't it, with a blind landing. I mean the rotation.
The rotation you need for a pike is significantly more than a tuck, because if you feel like you've not got enough rotation in a tuck, you can squeeze your knees into your chest a little bit more. As you can see there, absolutely fine out the 2.5 twist.
Yeah.
But that's why you get a big difficulty.
The difficulty, sure, yeah.
Well, he went for broke. He went for broke and he didn't quite manage to hold it together. Big shame for him.
Yeah, the whole mark off on that sit down is going to be very, very costly. He shrugs his shoulders. I went for broke, it didn't come off.
The gymnast had it all, hasn't he? European, world, Olympic champion.
And he's 27.
And he's 27. Not bad at all.
No. Well, he will be way down the field, and he is. He's in 4th at the moment, 12.633 for Artem Dolgopyat. Well, a real challenge for a medal will come now from Great Britain's Harry Hepworth. He's just 21 years old. He's the 3rd highest qualifier for floor. Come on, Harry.
Well, he's negotiated the balance. And the huge first tumble, triple twisting, double back. Scurries to the next tumble, double twisting, double straight. Well, we haven't seen a flicker yet on those landings. Come on, Harry. 3.5 twist along the side path. tremendous tumbling skill. But look, you can see he's great on the rings as well. That beautiful, strong position. And of course, the non-acrobatic moves are very important as well. But it's the tumbling that's the exciting bit. Oh, look at that. Twisting into double front. He just made it look so easy. And there's the triple. My goodness me, he's on fire today.
This is a huge routine, this.
Has to harness this. Harness this dismount, double twisting, double back, just a little bounce on that final tumble. But Harry Hepworth, that was magnificent.
Wow, well, surely he's going to be up on the medal podium, but the question is, what colour is the medal? Wow, his teammate and his gym mate. I mean, Harry and Luke are both from a club in Leeds, and oh my word, has Harry just nipped the gold from Luke?
Well, I think he might have done, actually. They matched on difficulty, and he don't put a foot wrong, apart from the very last tumble, where he had that little bit of a kickback. And he's an immensely strong gymnast. As you alluded, Christine, he's in the rings final. He's brilliant on rings, and he puts that strength on the floor. It was just exceptional. We've seen sometimes where he does the double twist into the double front where he sit down, and he landed bolt upright. Yeah. And I would love to see his face from the other side, because I think he looked a little bit surprised.
His execution was fantastic. Luke's execution score was 8.3. They've both got the same difficulty. So this is boiling down to execution.
Absolutely, yes. Just the tenths from the E judges, how much they could take off the routine.
Look at Luke's face. They've grown up together. They train alongside each other.
I think he'll be sweating a little bit.
Well, he will. Well, Luke's hoping to get 3 in a row European titles, but
fabulous performance.
14.366. It's second for Harry Hepworth at the moment. It's Leeds 1 and 2.
Wow, what a performance from both these guys.
Brilliant. There's 3 gymnasts still left to go in this men's European final. But Luke Whitehouse will be sitting a little more comfortably now. Just a bit. So Kevin Penev from Bulgaria is next to go. He's got a 5-4 on the difficulty, so in comparison to both Harry and Luke, this routine is not as difficult.
Oh, very nice opening tumble, clean. He'll have to go for the execution. This gymnast was born in the United States. Oh, and that's again that double pike front somersault. Catching a few out today, the full twist in the combination. That's better, drifts in the straight front, but you can see the difference in difficulty. Very smooth there. Wendy swing, circle. Opts to do his balance before the final tumble. Remember, it's just 8 moves now for these male gymnasts. Maximum of 70 seconds in the routine. Double twisting, double back to finish. Very clean gymnastics. It won't be enough to challenge the top 2, certainly with that fall. No. Great to see Bulgaria being represented again.
A very costly fall, that. These double fronts are so impressive, but unless you time it perfectly, there's very little opportunity to pull it round. Here's the double twisting, double straight. And I think this is the one where the mistake was made. You see, look, a full twisting front somersault up into a double pike, and he just didn't quite have the air time. You need to have the shoulders just over the feet to make that landing. Good, clean twisting. and stylish work.
13.966 is a medal score at the moment, with two more still to go.
Double twisting, double back, the final tumble. But he's already given away one whole mark during that routine.
Yeah, I don't think it'll worry the top three.
So Great Britain's Luke Whitehouse leads ahead of Harry Hepworth in second. And then the Italian Lorenzo Mincaselli is in third at the moment with a score of 13.966. It's 12.866 for Kevin Penev. Still ahead of Dolgopiat. So the next gymnast, the penultimate gymnast in this floor final is Luca Giubellini, 22-year-old Swiss gymnast who scored a 14.066 in qualification. Again, slightly easier routine, so this is all going to be on execution.
Oh, and yet another gymnast to fall foul of that move. Usually in the finals, they're so secure that he spun that double straight beautifully. And quite a good balance. Several of them have found that very difficult. All these gymnasts, of course, so precise. Got such beautiful basic work. Lovely technique on their twisting, lovely shape on the handstand. So he's had the section, the non-acrobatic section, now he comes back with another big tumble, double pike, so this is two falls of this. He'll be very disappointed with this performance. Up into a good, strong double pike. Okay. Not what he would have hoped for today.
Big occasion for a young gymnast. I think nerves just got to the better of him a little bit there, Christine. Such a shame. Interesting, his father was in the '92 Barcelona Olympics. So no doubt he'll feel under a little bit more pressure as well.
We watched his brother last night in the all-around competition, so quite a family affair, but this was the opening tumble.
This is why the gymnasts get rewarded so well for this skill. The front somersault with the double twist is a tricky skill in its own right, but then having to land at the correct position to transfer that up into the air to rotate. I mean, he did the double tuck. In theory, that's easier than double pike and still struggle. So it just proves what a difficult combination, and it's worth all the bonus. So he won't challenge. So 1 and 2 will stay the same.
With one more to go. So I think Luke knows now that his title is safe. 11.6 for Luca Giubellini. And that's because the last gymnast to go, Luca Morabito of Switzerland, he scored a 14.166 on 5.7 on the difficulty. A great achievement for Switzerland to have two gymnasts in the floor final, just like Great Britain.
And the gymnasts in 1, 2 and 3 at the moment, sat there on the stalls. The third place gymnast looking anxiously on.
So on we go then with the last gymnast in this floor final. It's Luca Moravito of Switzerland.
Nice opening tumble, very secure. Lovely extension, fantastic spatial awareness. Oh, and again, didn't give himself a chance on the takeoff. That's much better. There's 4 gymnasts out of these 8 in the final have fallen on that combination skill. That's better, 2.5, drifts into a straight front somersault. Need to push down on the floor. Keep the legs and toes stretched. Stands up well on the final tumble, but too much too late. What a shame for the boys from Switzerland.
Look at the emotion on the face of Caselli. He knows he's going to take that bronze medal. But what an achievement for the British team, and what an achievement for Leeds Gymnastic Club.
Yes, the trio of coaches from Leeds of Andy Butcher, Tom Rawlinson and Dave Murray have got the right formula for success. And actually, I've been really impressed with the way that the Swiss gymnasts have improved, Christine. They've really come on over the past few years.
They have, but this, he just never took off, really, did he? You know, his centre of gravity didn't rise when he bounced off that floor.
I think his legs were a little bit soft, and you have to really put pressure in your legs. It's almost like a straight leg landing to get the rebound. And if you just hit it wrong, what happens? The floor will absorb all the momentum you've gained, and that's the momentum you need to put you in the air. That was the lowest of the double fronts attempt at that fall. You could see when he took off that he wasn't going to get round. But I'm sure he'll take that as a learning experience. You can see that he's probably going, that's never happened before.
Well, it is amazing.
12.866 for Murabito into 6th place. But there we have it confirmed. European champion for the hat-trick, Luke Whitehouse, and silver for Harry Hepworth of Great Britain as well. Coach Dave Murray there from Leeds, and actually for once he's smiling.
Well, when you see it all coming to fruition like this, you're definitely able to smile.
And the bronze for Italy's Lorenzo Caselli.
3 in a row for Great Britain's Luke Whitehouse, and what an achievement as well for Harry Hepworth to take that silver medal. It's not very often you see Great Britain up on the medal podium in the 1 and 2 position, but there you have a bit of history, and really it was never in doubt as far as Luke was concerned until Harry got to the floor. Tentative one, Beth.
Yeah, do you know, it was a great final to watch
yeah.
because I think across all 3 days that we've had so far, there's not been that front runner where you're just like, oh, they're winning and we'll take 2nd and 3rd to look for. But for this final, it could have been anyone's, and they all had to go so clean. And Luke, fair play to him, to go up and set the standard, knowing that a lot of his rivals were coming up after him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they're both coming from the same gym. Sam, what's the secret? What are they doing at Leeds that mean they can have 2 medalists at the European Championships on floor?
What an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
To have 2 gymnasts from the same club, let alone the same country,
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
And we have to say as well that Jake Jarman is also one of the best floor workers in the world. So it's a competition just to get in the final. for these guys on the British team. For me, that was just incredible. And I think Luke's routine was a story of two halves, right? Mistakes in the first half, but the second half was almost perfect. He stuck every tumble, and me and Beth spoke about that 0.1 bonus for sticking that last tumble, which was really important in the outcome of the result and determining who finished in first and second.
I mean, just to put into context how difficult that triple back is as an opener. I mean, there's a reason why he does it at the start of his routine as a starter.
Oh, the triple back somersault is incredibly difficult, and we don't see many of them. They're more popular now, but it's very, very tricky to get just right because the timing has to be absolutely spot on. And knowing when to open out to land perfectly is very difficult, and Luke does it so well because his legs are very close in the air when he does the somersaults. A lot of guys don't want to take the risk of pulling their legs quite wide and taking those deductions, but for him, he does it so cleanly that it's worth that risk. Even with that step forwards, he was able to build his difficulty so high and finish on the top of the podium.
And Beth, you know what it's like to sort of carry the weight of expectation. You know, he's going up there trying to win 3 golds in a row. I mean, he did ever so well, didn't he, just to remain composed in that situation?
He did, because 2 years ago he was the unknown, and it's a lot easier to chase the champion than to beat the champion because suddenly everyone's watching you. What are you doing? What's your performance? So I think it probably played into his favour to be further up the beginning of the final because he could kind of set the standard. What I love about Luke's routine is the variety.
OK, well, we're going to hand back to Craig and Christine for the medal ceremony as Lorenzo Min Caselli steps up to receive the bronze medal. Let's go over to the lads over and see them over in Leipzig getting their gold and silver.
Yes, we join us now. He's going to present the silver medal to Harry Hepworth for Great Britain, 14.366.
Auf dem ersten Platz, Gewinner der Goldmedaille und Europameister 2025. In first place, winner of the gold medal and European champion 2025. Representing Great Britain, Luke Whitehouse.
So for the 3rd time in a row, Luke Whitehouse becomes the 2025 European champion on the floor with an emphatic performance.
European Gymnastics Executive Committee member.
And as they're presented with their medals, what an amazing performance to achieve that title 3 times in a row. Just missed out on a medal last year at the Olympic Games. He'll be working hard for this next 4 years to be able to keep his dominance on this floor exercise.
A fantastic result for Lorenzo Caselli of Italy to hold on to the bronze medal.
Harry Hepworth with an amazing silver.
The national anthem of Great Britain.
Congratulations to Luke Whitehouse and also Harry Hepworth. The last time the triple was done, as far as the gold medals are concerned on floor, was the early 60s. So Luke Whitehouse joins Franco Menicelli. It's an exclusive club, that one. Fantastic. What a floor final we've seen there. So let's indulge, shall we, in their routines, because why not? We've just won 2 medals at the Europeans. We'll start with Luke. I know we spoke about the triple back to begin with, Sam, but if you just want to talk us through Luke's routine and why it is so special. I mean, it's 6-1 on the difficulty to begin with.
Yeah, the difficulty in Luke's routine is huge. The difficult part of doing that is obviously maintaining your composure and landing all of those skills. But for me, I was really interested in how well Luke could control that difficulty, and then his competitors, what they were going to do. I knew that Harry was going to have that 6-1, so he matches him in difficulty. But Artem Dolkapart, I wasn't sure whether he was going to up his game. He only did a 5-8, and I think in the end, he went to try and out-execute Luke and Harry, and it didn't pay off for him. And Luke doing this routine, he's had to change the construction. Now we're doing 8 skills instead of 10.
Yes.
But he's still managing to cram in so many tumbles and so much difficulty. And the one thing Luke's done brilliantly this year is control the connection tumble. So when you see that double twist into the double front early on, 4 of the gymnasts in this final fell on that tumble, but Luke is managing to perform that really consistently.
It's interesting as well, Sam, that he's opted to put his balance in the middle of the routine to maybe get a bit of a breather, because it is so full on, this routine.
Exactly. I think he's racing through. You've seen him do 6 or 7 tumbles in this routine, so that little breather at the end to compose himself worked, because he then was able to stick that dismount. And I think that was his 7th tumble. And so to stick a double-double, which was a tumble we'd see as the first tumble just 5 or 6 years ago, that's his last tumble. It really says a lot about where we've come in terms of a difficulty and what the new code is doing to these performances.
And he had a little moment in the middle of the routine. Do you think that would have made him then chase the goal more? Would that have settled him? Would he have been waiting? I mean, you know what it's like when you're up there in the middle of a routine. When you have a moment like that, does it refocus you, or does it make you think, oh, it's gone, so I might as well just enjoy it?
I think it goes one of 2 ways. And I've been in that situation in a floor final at Europeans where the first tumble, you take a big step and it just keeps happening and you can't control those landings. You almost try too hard. But for Luke, what's happened is, and that's why I said it was a routine of 2 halves, he's made those mistakes in the first half, but something switched in his mind, and I think he's almost gone, wait a minute, I can still get something from this. And he's just gone out and tried to perform as best as he possibly can, and he stuck all 3 of his last tumbles.
And I mean, it's a big change now, because there, as Sam suggested there, now there's only 8 of the top moves instead of 10. So actually the routines are shorter, so there's less chance actually to pull it back, isn't there now?
Yeah, the construction, the women's gymnasts have had the 8 skills for quite a while. So the men over the past kind of 6 months have really had to switch the mindset of consolidating their routines. They haven't got as much time. But with that comes less execution, because you're not doing as many skills. I think you were right, it was a routine of 2 halves, and having that balance just gave him a bit of time to compose himself. But he also knows he's got a huge difficulty compared to most of the field. Obviously, Harry had exactly the same difficulty. So although he had that step on that first tumble, he had the knowledge that actually that doesn't put him out of the game straight away. So he had every 10th to fight for, and he sure did. And that landing on that dismount is, for me, that's what, when I watched Harry's routine, I thought straight away Luke had won it because of that stuck dismount.
Yeah, and well, we think Luke is going to be coming over to chat. Not sure if Harry will or not, because he, of course, has a rings final as well. So on a morning like this, Sam, how do you prep for 2 finals that really are very, very different, aren't they?
They really are, but I think even though they're so young, they're already so experienced. They've competed at an Olympic Games, both of them. And I think for Harry, because he tends to specialise on those 3 apparatus, he's well versed in being able to prepare for one final and then switch straight to the next one. He's done that on multiple occasions now, and I think he's really good at switching his mindset depending on the apparatus you're in. You know, he spoke there about on floor maybe not being able to control it. On rings, you've got to be intense and strong and really be very powerful.
Well, he's obviously quite chilled because he's gone over to Betty Glover to have a word. So let's hand over to Betty, who's in Leipzig with 2 European medalists. Betty.
Luke, you are back-to-back European champion, the first male GB gymnast to win 3 European titles in a row. That must feel pretty good.
It's unbelievable. To be honest, I'm lost for words. I knew it was possible, but to come out and do that today, I couldn't be prouder.
How hard is it mentally to sort of have to go out there and defend your title instead of being the new kid on the block?
Yeah, I think it's another level, but I don't know, I tried to thrive off that pressure, and I don't know, I went out today and just did my routine that I always do, and yeah, by that 3rd tumble I was like, oh no, I need to start sticking things.
What was it like? What was going through your head? Because obviously yesterday you didn't have the competition that you wanted, so you went out there today, you knew that you had to nail it. Did that add another layer of pressure?
I don't think so. I tried to put yesterday behind me. Super proud of my floor routine and my rings routine from yesterday. So, yeah, I just took that experience from yesterday into today, and yeah.
Well, you are European champion. That is unbelievable. Well done. Harry, let's come over to you because you've won that silver medal. Talk us through your routine.
Well, I was quite nervous going into it, but, you know, we deal with this pressure a lot. So I just went out there, left it all out there. And
look, you two are teammates as well, aren't you? You both are at Leeds. What's the secret? What's going on at Leeds?
We're just Northerners. We're hard. We're tough. That's it. That's all it is.
And look, you are competing in the rings final later as well, aren't you? You're going to have a little rest and then you're going to go out there and compete. How are you feeling ahead of that one?
I'm really excited. Every ring routine, I just try to get that little bit better, and today's another opportunity to do that. So I'll leave it all out there once again on rings.
Well, we can't wait to see it. Well done both. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love that answer. We're Northerners, we're just hard. That's the secret. But, I mean, they didn't disappoint. I mean, they came out all guns blazing. And Harry's got a rings final that's coming up, hopefully just around 6 o'clock for you there. But huge congratulations to Luke Whitehouse, the third time of winning that floor title. No Fluke Luke, surely is his name from here. Now, the first of our women's finals is the vault. Power, speed and precision executed in the blink of an eye. Gymnasts get 2 vaults and the average is taken. Now, last year's champion, Colleen de Vuillard, isn't competing here. So who is going to land on that winner's medal? We're going to hand over to Craig Heap and Christine Still, who are in the commentary box, just as the warm-up, I think, is just coming to an end. Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. The gymnasts are just warming up before the first 4 ladies will compete. 2 vaults. And it's the average of the 2, and we're in for quite a vault final, Christine.
We are indeed, and for the gymnasts, for the female gymnasts, there's not many times when they do 2 different vaults, so they've very much got their, it's only in finals situation that you do 2 different vaults, so they've very much got their favoured first vault and then a second vault, and really the person likely to succeed is the person with the 2 highest tariff vaults, really.
Yeah, consistency is key. No point having a brilliant first vault and then sitting down on the second, so it'll be difficulty in execution. It's the average of both vaults.
And they just have a short warm-up. 3 vaults they're allowed. There's a judge down there counting to make sure that nobody takes any extra goes.
So the first vaulter in this final is Ming Karadi van Eycken. Van Eycken got a bronze at last year's European Championships. She's the 3-time vault champion.
First vault with a tariff of 5.4. So if it's perfect, it can be 15.4. But there was 1 whole mark off putting the hands down on that landing.
Such a shame, actually. Very difficult vault. Watch this, the handspring entry. Really accelerate from the springboard. Big block pike. And then extends out the 1.5 twist. She really did fight to hold the landing. But obviously a lack of height. Judges start deduction from the springboard. There'll be 4 phases of deductions. From the springboard to the platform, that's the first flight, and then you've got the support phase on the vaulting table where the judges are looking for straight arms, and then the second flight is the push off the platform, and then the final part is the landing. And she had the first 3 phases very good. It was just the landing that caused problems there, Christine.
Yes, it's one of the most difficult vaults the gymnast will perform today. Super run up. She gets up in the air, but just not quite enough flight, or not quite enough rotation to get the feet down and the shoulders up.
She was very close, actually, to hanging on, but she'd have got a big deduction with the chest down, even if she'd have put her hands down. Judges are looking for when they finish the vault that the gymnast has stood vertical, either facing the vaulting platform or away. Such a shame.
So we wait for the first score to arrive before the second vault.
Well, the score's in. It's 13.716. Robin van Eycken. She must be so demoralised after that. That's the 3rd highest qualifier. Eyes on a medal. What a shame. 12.966. Ball marked down on what she qualified with. Dig deep now, the 17-year-old with her 2nd vault in this Women's European Vault Final.
1 mark lower in Tariff, and very nice and clean, the full twisting Sukahara. Good height and length, but it won't make up for the disappointment of vault number 1.
No. So difficult, but 17 years old, it's early days in her senior career.
Yeah, she's plenty of time to develop and mature, and this will be a great learning experience. No problem at all with this 2nd vault. Half on, full twist in the straight position, completely different landing position to the first, chest up facing the vault. Just a little bit of a leg separation on the way on, but you know, there is a marked difference in difficulty, and we've talked about that constantly, haven't we? It's being able to marry the two, the difficulty with the execution.
And this is a very nice, clean vault. The French have quite a tradition of medaling on the vault, and this is a really powerful run. Most of the French gymnasts run really powerfully and well. There's obviously a lot of time spent on drilling that.
I mean, that's a fine example of why she is the 3rd highest qualifier on the execution of that 2nd vault. But these days, you've got to really push the difficulty to get those high scores that make the mark. 13.033. That's the average of the 2 vaults. You can see the scores of both vaults at the bottom of the graphic. Well, listen to the roar here as Karina Schönmeier is introduced to the home crowd. The German gymnast took the gold in the mixed team final a couple of days ago. What can she produce here?
Well, I'm sure she'll be going for the double twist, the flip on, 2 twists. Very nicely performed, very clean. We saw her in the mixed team final vault beautifully like that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. It was the key, actually, to them getting through, wasn't it, in that particular round?
It was.
Well, I'm going to say she enjoyed the mixed team final. She's enjoying the gymnastics. Completely different vault to the first one we've seen. I mean, she had so much power, so much time in the air.
Yes.
We'll be able to look again. And this gymnast is obviously performing this well within her capabilities. It didn't look a stretch at all. Very powerful approach, the round off, entry backwards on, legs locked together, very tight. Execution will score very well. Straight down the middle. I think she's got a taste of winning medals. She can just hang on for the second one. This is a real opportunity, vaulting onto the podium again.
Well, it's the highest qualifier. She's certainly off to a flying start with that first vault. It'll all be on what happens in this second pass.
Well, the gymnasts have to choose a different category of vault. Each of the vaults is put into a category, and in a final you can't just do, like she's done a double twist here, you can't now go and do the same vault but with a single twist or a 1.5. You have to do a different type of vault. So in qualification, she... Oh,
look at that score, 14.066. That's going to go a long way to a golden score. 9.066 on execution, though. I think everybody wants to see Karina Schönmeier have a golden moment here in front of the German home crowd.
So she needs another good landing. Here we go. The half turn on, very good. So she used the round off, but she half turned on, went on forwards with a straight front somersault with half turn. Very nicely executed vault, that one.
Well, this German crowd think that she is an absolute superstar, and rightly so. The golden girl from the mixed team final, and it looks pretty good at the moment.
Well, yeah, I think she's on for gold medal number 2. I mean, that's going to take some beating. If you combine the start values of both vaults, she's got the highest difficulty in this vault final, and she really does understand the round-off entry to the vault. As you said, Tristan, you see some gymnasts approach a little bit tentative towards the vault, but she really does attack. You can see the determination. This is a difficult vault because they do the round off here. You can see the jump half turn, block at the right time, lovely straight layout shape, and just that hop back on the landing. This is the one to beat.
It certainly is, very nice and clean.
Well, there's still some good vaulters left to go. Schönmeier is just the second of 8 in this women's final.
And if you're looking forward to this vault, I mean, there looks like there's bags of energy there in time. That'll have another full twist in it in a couple of years' time, and that'll be a 1.5 twist. Could really contend for a medal at the Olympics if she can just keep building on that.
She certainly can. I mean, the slow motion showed that it was a tiny bit offline, so she'll lose some marks for that. But the shape in the air was excellent. She's a gymnast who relishes the crowd, performs to the crowd.
They like to build the tension, don't they, in this arena, not giving the scores out.
She'll be used to this from the mixed team final, though, won't she? And actually, you want to sit there and take the adoration, certainly when you performed as well as that.
Well, her first vault was 13.966. It was up in the 14s, wasn't it?
It was in the 14s.
I don't know what's one with this scoreboard I'm looking at here.
Is that, I'm looking at qualification.
Craig.
Don't put me on the laptop. That's the qualification scores.
I did actually think that today at 14, it was the first time we've seen a 14 this championships for a double twisting Yashenko.
The score's not in yet for the second vault, but
I've got the monitor working, I think.
what are they waiting for then, I wonder, Chris? What would be the deliberation on that last vault?
Drama.
I wouldn't have thought there was a lot of deliberation, really. She had one foot out. You can see they're waiting for that score. Here it comes.
What? Oh. 13.5 for the second vault. It's an average of 13.983. So she goes into the lead. And she's got a 0.2 bonus for the different vaults.
Yeah, well, you'd have to have different categories, but if you actually go on one vault backwards and one vault forwards, you get a 0.2 bonus. So she's the first gymnast that I've seen in a final to get that.
Leah Font is the next gymnast to go from Spain. She's the Spanish vault champion.
And really very good. Oh, and another good double twist. Drifted a little bit off to the side, so that will have a bigger deduction. She flipped on. She was happy to make that landing there.
Yeah, didn't just have the same spring off the top as Sean Meyer. A good vault. You can see on wraps in, just a bit of crossing of the legs. Did she just stay in? I think her foot was on the line. It'd be very close.
The first twist looked really quite efficient. When she wrapped in the second, she lost a bit of body tension, didn't she?
Well, just 18 years of age, so again, just needs a little bit more experience. It's a big vault. Yeah, it looked really good off the top, Christine. You're right, on the first twist, and then just lost a little bit of leg form. So it won't do well on execution.
So you see this vault, she went on backwards. Her hands reached back behind her head, and she went on to the vault in the backward position. If on the second vault she goes on in a forward position, she will get the bonus of the 0.2. There we are, there's the backwards. Actually, it was a very good block off the top.
Plenty of height. Yeah, good block. It'll just be the final phase. It'll pick up most of the deductions.
So as soon as that first score is in, she'll be able to hammer down the runway again with a second vault. Interesting, you'll keep your eyes peeled and see if she gets that bonus.
That's new for the quarter points this time for the women, which is a very good incentive also for the gymnasts that can't perform two different vaults. They can still get in the final, but if you can, you get bonus as well.
You do still have to do vaults from two different categories, but for instance, she now does a Sukahara, the half turn on, so she's going on backwards. She won't get the bonus. However, if she does a handspring forwards, which is another category again, she'll get the bonus as well.
Leah Font scores a 13.466 for that first vault. 8.466 on the execution. She's rested, chalked up and ready to go with this second vault, as are the judges. They're set 2. So let's get on with this women's vault European final.
See a carefully measured run. And the full twist in the Sukahara. So as I understand it, she went on backwards then, she won't get the bonus. She's used vaults from two different categories, but one didn't go forwards, they both went on backwards.
Well,
we'll see if I've got it right.
Yeah, safely through.
Yeah, you see, in my understanding, I would say they are two different vaults. For that,
yeah.
They are two different vaults because one went on backwards, but yeah, that sort of is forwards, but a quarter, and then you're kicking into the rotation facing the vault like the previous one.
Yes, yeah.
So we'll see whether she gets the 0.2 or not.
This is a new rule brought in after the Olympics, and this is the first major championships we've had since the Olympics.
You have to be really powerful to go on forwards like this. So the half on, or the Sukahara, there, into the full twist. A little bit of a pike down deviation in the body, so it won't score as well as the first vault.
And that, no doubt, is why it took a little bit of time for that first score to come in.
Yeah, just working out whether or not the bonus was good height, good height.
Yeah, I think you could be right there, Christine, with the bonus. And that'll be to incentivise the gymnast to do different vaults.
Different entries, yeah.
Which is almost like training a new piece of apparatus.
Yes, no bonus.
13.233 with no bonus. No bonus, you're right, Chris. 13.983 leads the competition ahead of 13.233 for Leah Font. But for how long will the gymnast be in that order? Because here comes Lisa Voilen. Hugely capable on this piece. She won a bronze at last year's Euros.
And here we get the handspring front somersault with 1.5 twist. Beautifully executed. Landed well upright. There was a little bit of deductions to be taken off the legs as she went into the twist.
Very powerful. You really need to drive the heels. I've seen the first gymnast put the hands down on this vault, but no mistake here. Big block. Wraps in. They almost use the pike position and open out to increase the rotation and the twist. The judges will probably 3/10 on the way on. A little bit soft in the knees, but she was up, chest up. Nothing major.
She scored well, actually, in qualification with that first vault. She scored 14.
Well, it's a 5.4 tariff, so it's out of 15.4. And, you know, there wasn't a big deduction on landing.
I think it'd be up there, high 13s. Might even nudge a 14.
Yeah, this is the gymnast that's really going to push Karina Schoenmeier, who currently leads this competition.
Her only problem is a second vault, if it's same as qualifications, only a 4.4, so 4/10 behind, unless she's got a bigger vault.
It's interesting, well, 13.933, so she's down on Schoenmeier. She needs to go big with this one, that's for sure. Leah Font has a score of 13.233 as an average. She's currently in second place.
So this vault will be a turn on, full twisting. Sukahara off, it drifted a bit to the side, but it was clean, and I think she will get the bonus for that because she turned on and hit the platform backwards that time.
Well, can she match the bronze, or better the bronze that she won at the Euros back in 2023?
The female vault finalists are often quite specialists. They spend a lot of their training time vaulting, obviously, to develop two different vaults.
And you can tell how powerful a gymnast, because of the entry, you really have to drive the heels, be really powerful in the shoulders. There's no hanging about down that vault run up. Just a little bit soft in the legs and not as fully extended in the shape as we'd like to see. She have a 13.033 in qualification.
I think deserved of a medal, don't you?
Yeah, I think she should be challenging with that. And great for Belgium if they could medal.
I think she will challenge for a medal there. I think she probably won't beat the first place here, but I would expect that to go into second. I think she'll get the 0.2 bonus, which actually in a final is quite a significant
bonus.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost...
It gives you a lift.
Do an easier vault.
Well, she has gone into second, 13.666.
And no bonus.
No bonus, that surprises me, because the first one went forwards and the second one was with a turn on.
Well, just when you thought gymnastics couldn't get confusing enough, they had a new rule.
Can you then put in an inquiry?
I imagine you can, yes.
No, it's come up on my computer here, 0.2.
Oh, it has? It didn't
Yes,
come up on this?
didn't come up on the screen. She has got a 0.2. We were right.
Oh.
You were right, Christine.
I was starting
the
to
royal
question
we.
myself.
Yeah.
So there's a warm-up now for the second half of the finalists. I think this actually is a great addition for safety reasons. You know, it's a long old wait, isn't it, if you're sort of 8th up and you've warmed up in the traditional style when there used to be a warm-up at the start.
Yes, most coaches are not happy once you go past 6 people to not have a second warm-up. So when you've got 8 in a final, 4 warm-up compete, the other 4 warm-up compete.
And certainly now the judges are a lot quicker at getting the scores out than they used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember waiting half an hour, being the last person up in a Grand Prix in that group of 8 because they were taking the time with the scores. Well, you might as well not bother warming up. So I do think it's a great addition. She looks like she's got a good, powerful Yushchenko.
There's several very nice looking Yushchenkos there.
But it's not about having one good vault, it's about having 2 steady vaults, because the average is taken. How do you feel about that? I mean, I know it's been around for many, many years, but do you think it should be 1 vault, or do you think the 2 and average should be taken?
Well, I think if you want to be a finalist on vault, it's quite acceptable to have to do 2 vaults. You know, when you're doing, we're talking about the men having now gone from 10 moves to 8 to count to get you your score. Essentially, on vault, you do 1 move to get your score.
Yes,
so I don't think it's at all unreasonable if you want to win a medal at a final to have to produce 2 vaults.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And the women have 4 apparatus, you know, and the men have 6, and the men still have to do 2 vaults. But I also think it makes the competition really interesting. You get to see the gymnast versatility.
On we go then. So, into the second half of this women's vault final at the Europeans. This is Tia Belic of Slovenia.
One of the most experienced competitors in the competition. Powers in. Oh, and that was a lovely handspring, straight front somersault with full twist. She powered off the top. Very efficient vaulting here. Lovely line.
Tia's 31 years old. She's the eldest of the competitors in this final.
Great vault. You can just see the effort. Powers down. Big push. In the full turn. A difficult vault as then because you've got the blind landing. And this is difficult to keep your legs together when you take off from the springboard because, you know, the energy's trying to pull your legs apart. You've really got to squeeze. You've got to drive the heels. It's a big vault for a 4-4 difficulty, I think.
Yes, and the forward vaulting like this is really like being a long jumper. You've got to have absolute power down that runway, get those feet into the board and drive out of the board. It takes massive energy, I think, forward vaulting like this.
Well, that was a good start, and the door could well be open after what happened with Von Eycken, our first vaulter. There's the top 3 as it stands. Karina Schoenmeier leads the competition with 13.983. Lisa Wallen from Belgium on a score of 13.666 is in second, and Leah Font from Spain, 13.233. Tia Belic preparing for vault number 2 now. She was first at the Doha World Cup earlier this year. Got a lot of World Cup wins. She was victorious also at the Cobus World Cup and took a gold at the European Games back in 2019.
She's been a vault specialist for some years now.
And a good 10 years older than the gymnasts that have just gone before.
Yeah.
But comes that experience as well and being able to handle the pressure. And it is fabulous. We talk about longevity for these gymnasts. Shushavitana, 50 years of age, I believe, still going strong.
It's amazing that she's still going.
It is absolutely amazing.
13.033 for Tea Belek's first vault. I hope she's still warm enough. She's had a long wait for this second vault. It's over so quickly. As soon as you hit that board, up into the rafters.
Same powerful approach, but the round off flip on, 1.5 twist. That is very good vaulting, and she certainly went on a different way. In fact, for me, that's really two great vaults, completely different, showing real different skill sets on vault.
Yeah, and interesting enough, she's opted for the most difficult vault second, 4.6, so that's out to 14.6. And it looked effortless.
She times it very well indeed, the flip on.
Well, she needs 13.233 as an average to get up into the medals. As it stands at the moment with 3 vaulters still to go.
For me, the execution was much better on that vault as well compared to the first. She'll get the 0.2 bonus. I think it'd be good enough to put her up into the medals, but whereabouts? I don't think average of the two will go into top.
Well, the tariff, they're not quite difficult enough, are they?
Yeah.
If you think the first gymnast did a double twist there, she just does a 1.5, so she's down on tariff.
But great execution.
Oh, the height
really
there,
lovely.
it really did drift over the... And I often, when I look at a vault like that perform so easily, surely that's a double twist in training. Or maybe she just, sometimes you can't get past that extra half turn, I guess, Chris.
Yeah, the timing's slightly different between the 1.5 and the double. A lot of gymnasts who start with the 1.5 find it difficult to change the timing to quite make the double.
Well, 13.533 does put her in third place. As it stands, she's got the bonus. And at the moment, she's in third. Sitting in the wrong chair there. Elsa Hertz, another gymnast in her 30s. She made the vault final at the Worlds a few years ago.
And there's the double, and that was a good landing, wasn't it? Blocks off the top, wraps in 2 twists.
Yeah, fantastic. Great power.
Well, we said in the warm-up she had the potential on Gudjichenko, and she didn't disappoint. So it'll be good on the difficulty. Reasonable on the execution there. Just check the legs on the way on. Just a little separation. She drifts a little bit to one side, but stays inside the lines.
She interestingly blocks on the top of the vault with her hands turned out, which makes it a bit easier to keep your elbows straight. I don't know if we'll see it from this angle. You see the hands out, and so that she can really get a powerful block.
Probably a slight deduction for the chest down as well, Christine. If you look now, that's a good thing about getting to watching slow motion. You can just see things because it happens so fast.
Yeah, super height, not quite so much rotation. When you land with your chest down is when you've stalled a little bit in the air, isn't it? And not had the rotation.
Well, interesting in the, I'm just looking at qualification, the second vault was only a 3.8. So that won't be big enough to challenge unless that was just an easy vault to get through.
13.566 is the score for Goetz's first vault. Now she goes big here. I mean, this could be a tactic from qualification, just to get entry into the final and then really go for it when you're in.
We haven't got a view of the tariff, so we have to wait and see. Handspring, straight front half. That would be more than a 3.5. so. I think that's a challenge.
Different vaults, so definitely a point 2.
Yep.
Now, well, she qualified in 6th place. And the gymnast, Taya Belek, who's in 3rd at the moment, has 13.533. So that's the score to beat. We're looking at the average.
I think it would be a question of whether they give this a pike front half or a straight front half.
Yeah, well, when they do that with the extra full twist like we've seen, it's almost initiated from that pike position, an extension to initiate the twist and the timing. So, you know, it won't be as high as that. I think she'll struggle to get to 3rd, in my opinion. Actually, not bad on the way on with the leg separation, but her feet were a little bit flexed and certainly up for the landing.
I think they'd give this the straight, though. I'm a bit... because if you watch, as she comes off, she's in a straight front shape and then turn,
Yeah, I would say that would be straight.
And that's quite a different tariff to if they called it a pike front half. She did pike down a little bit at the end, but the somersault's initiated in the straight shape,
that's straight,
isn't it?
Yeah.
So
she didn't grab the legs and wrap it in either, did she?
No.
So she, you know, she was doing her best to make it straight. Maybe she was given the pike in qualification.
Yep, that's my guess.
By upping the difficulty and with a bonus, it could challenge. Ooh, not quite. 13.233. She's in 4th. Two gymnasts left to vault in this European vault final. So Lisa Vallen of Belgium in 2nd place. Karina Schulmeier leads, and Taya Belek in 3rd. Greta Moya of Hungary is next to go, the Hungarian vault champion. She qualified with a 4.4 and a 4.6 difficulty. She's in the all-round competition, and she finished 14th.
So she's had a busy time of it here. Looks a very determined run. Sukara with full twist. That's one of the better vaults that we've seen. It's quite difficult with the Sukara to get much height off the top, but she blocked well off her arms.
Yeah, she did, and really did attack this run-up, probably one of the fastest we've seen. I would really love to see, actually, like a speedo at the side, to see miles per hour down to the vault.
Running. Yeah.
That was really good form. She had plenty of length there as well. Execution should be good. Powerful gymnast. Let's just check. Not bad as well from the springboard, only a slight leg separation. That'll score well.
Execution score should be high for that, I would have hoped.
Well, another gymnast that is opting for the more difficult vault for a 2nd.
We've got a fair few Hungarian gymnasts in the finals.
5 medals at these championships, Hungary. Kovacs was the last Hungarian gymnast a few years ago to win a medal in this final. So Greta Moya, 13.333 for that first vault. The 18-year-old preparing to go again.
And a little bit more difficult this vault, the flip on. Oh, that was a shame, wasn't it? She flipped on, just didn't get a heavy enough contact on her hands and couldn't quite get enough flight to land securely.
That's it. Oh. Such a shame. It really is an all or nothing event. You hit that table, hope for a big block and just wrap it in.
Well, she has A for effort and determination. Look, I think she was just a bit high on there, so she didn't have enough impact off the top. It was almost fingertips, you could see, and then you need that impact to block.
And I think she'll have known when she spotted that landing as she was coming down.
I think she knew when she hit the top of the platform. You do know if you've not got a good contact, you've really got to reach back, get your arms into that table as quick as you can. Look, yeah, she didn't have a lot of contact, which then would give her the second flight phase. What a shame, because in her execution, she's a very good gymnast.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's the Hungarian vault champion and did quite well that first vault. She got a 13.233, the same score that she scored in qualification in her all-around competition. 12.649, Greta Moyer as an average, 7th as it stands with 1 left to go. And Karina Schönmeier is looking more and more comfortable, but the last gymnast can challenge. So the Bulgarian gymnast at the end of the vault runway now was in the Olympic final. She got a 2nd at the Europeans last year on this piece. This is Valentina Georgieva, 18 years old. 2 difficult vaults.
5 tariff on this first one. Can she land it? Oh, easily. Super double twisting Yashchenko.
Simple. I mean, she made that look easy. A 5 difficulty.
She did. It was well flighted.
Probably the best double twist Yashchenko we've seen actually in this vault final. I think her execution will be right up there. Look at this powerful approach, very confident. You've really got to attack the vault with confidence. Legs locked together, plenty of height. She really did transfer well from the platform, Christine, don't you think?
Yeah, she got those hands in so fast. Look how quickly hands back into the platform, and then she uses a really efficient snap through the hips to create the rotation. The feet are, her hands are on, and her feet are still this side of the platform as her hands touch.
And you see, when you've got that block and rotation, you've plenty of time to keep your, like, spot the floor, chest up for the landing. This will definitely challenge.
I would have said that was the best of the double twists we've seen.
Yeah, I think that will be the top first vault score we've seen.
Yes, 14-1. 14-1, 9-1 on execution.
So if she's got a different entry, she'll get the 0.2 bonus, so it's going to be close. Second vault for Georgieva of Bulgaria to challenge for a vault medal.
Lots of power again. Turns on, 1.5 twist. I don't think she'll have the bonus because she did both vaults from a backward entry, but that was lovely vaulting, super second vault as well.
Well, she gave it everything, didn't she?
Be interesting to see this entry in slow motion again.
I think the 0.2 would be critical if she wanted to take the top spot.
Yes, I think.
Holding the concentration, so determined.
Yes, she's turned, so she goes on backwards, and then it's 1.5 twist off. But 2 very good vaults.
I think the difficulty with this entry vault, it is so difficult not to split the legs from the springboard. Whereas with the Yashchenko, the handspring, it's a little bit easier to lock them together. Be interesting. I think it might just go second.
Yes, I think second. I think it'll be the bonus that
splits
them. Yes, which is interesting, a new rule that's going to have determined the medals. But let us wait and see.
I think it'll also determine the way that coaches and gymnasts train going forward now. Well, the average of 13.983 for Karina Schoenemeyer. 13.9 average. So Schoenemeyer takes her second gold of this championships, and a very well deserved. It was the .2, Christine, that separated them. 13.9 and 13.983. That's the smallest of margins.
And one got the .2 bonus and one didn't, so how interesting. But great vaulting from the German.
So Schoenemeyer of Germany takes the gold, Georgieva of Bulgaria the silver, and Lisa Verlen of Belgium the bronze.
Karina Schoenemeyer with her second gold of the Games, and the last time Germany was in the top spot at the end of the vault runway was 13 years ago, the great Shizofatina there. But huge congratulations to her. Let's have a look at her vault again if we can. Beth, if you want to talk us through this. The winning vault, thundering down, here it comes.
Yeah, so she used the Yurchenko double twist, a very clean vault, just that small hop, but we were just discussing whether she actually played it quite tactical, because yesterday she was meant to be in the all-around final.
Yeah.
Pulled out.
Yeah.
She obviously did the mixed team final, but saved the power for today. You can see there's the Yurchenko half on, straight half off.
Yeah.
Both very well executed vaults, and because of the new coda point, she also took that .2 bonus for having the two different entries, a backward entry and a forward entry. So I think I haven't actually managed to see the difference, but I think that is the difference between the gold and the silver.
But also good choices of vaults, Sam, because some of the vaulters we saw there were doing the blind landings, which is so incredibly difficult to nail, certainly at this level.
It really is. When you're trying to land those blind landings, typically a gymnast is either going to overdo it and step forwards, underdo it and sit down.
Yeah.
So to have got that just right, and I think it was a real battle of execution in that final. It came down to who was doing the most technically precise gymnastics.
Yeah.
And she made a really, really interesting decision to obviously pull out.
And in front of a home crowd as well. I mean, you know what that's like. London 2012, everybody roaring. A phenomenal experience for her to achieve at this level at home.
Incredible, and she'd have been riding the wave of winning that gold medal in the mixed team events. To have then gone on and won another gold medal, I mean, what a championship.
Yeah, well, talking of that mixed team event, on Wednesday night we saw the debut of a new competition at the European Championships. The mixed team final, where 16 pairs took to the arena to take on 3 rounds to be crowned champions. In the first round, 8 teams dropped out, but the British team made it safely through. In round 2, the British pairing of Ruby Evans and Jake Jarman delivered standout performances that propelled Team GB to the top of the leaderboard. Evans powered through on vault with a score of 13.966, while Jarman lit up the floor with a dynamic routine that earned him 14.4. In a format where team tactics are almost as important as skill, the pair rose to the occasion with their signature apparatus, ensuring their team's place in the gold and silver showdown against Germany with a combined total of 28.366, the highest of the round, with Italy and France left to fight for the bronze. Morgan Osek Rimmer kicked off the bronze medal match on floor for France, but a few costly errors meant that she left teammate Anthony Monsard with a lot to do. It was too much for the Frenchman, and with a combined score of 25.699, France could only sit and wait for the Italians to take to the podium. But it was always going to be a difficult watch for France, with Italy's Olympic medalist Manila Esposito ending her competition on her favourite piece, the beam. And even with a step on her dismount, she still scored a whopping 14.266, leaving Lorenzo Caselli in the best spot to be, needing a simple and clean routine, and you've got the bronze medal. Italy taking the win with a combined score of 27.966. So, to the gold medal match, GB versus Germany, high bar versus high bar, and beam versus beam for the win.
The gold medal match between Great Britain and Germany. Just 19 years old, Timo Eder for Germany.
Well, if he can match his parallel bar routine on style. Oh, that's lovely, half turn. Winds up, here's the big release coming. Full twisting catch, he went for it. Just a little bit loose on the legs and the catch. Change the shape, Kovac. He is going for it, Matt.
Good
Lovely
lad.
straight catch, Ev, over the top of the bar. 3 release and catch. Squat dislocate right into the handstand.
He's through.
It's just a little bit short on a couple of the handstands. Lovely one-arm work. It's a dismount for a medal. What's it going to be? Double twisting, double back. Just a little step. Big routine, but there were a few little errors.
Absolute respect to that young lad, though. He didn't hold back. He was going all out.
No, it was going for broke, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's laid down the gauntlet and he's piled on the pressure for his teammates. Oh, my word. Karina Schoenmeier trying to remain composed for her beam routine.
Oh, very brave, big front somersault mount and then cleanly through the 2 jumps. Swiftly into this acrobatic series. Oh, and she had a fight there, but she held it on. Great flip layout. 1 leap. Just a little pause before the second leap. Everyone holding their breath. Here the spin. Just a 1.5, not so difficult.
Well done, though. She's getting through it.
Yes, strong on the free cartwheel. She's holding her nerves, certainly. And, and
yes!
the side
Well
summy, well held. Lovely arm movements. Here comes the dismount. The full twisting gainer off the end. There were a few errors, but she fought very, very hard.
What a rescue!
Got to be the grittiest performance of the competition.
25.566 is the score for Jake Jarman and Ruby Evans to beat. Great Britain now going for gold in this gold medal match. Jake Jarman needs every single 10th here on high bar.
That's nice. Good position into the handstand. It's a piece of apparatus he's been working on. That's fingertips on the straight catch, Ev. And again, straddle. Good straight arms. Not the most difficult routine for Jake, but very, very stylish. He whips around the high bar. It's the dismount to go.
He needs to nail this.
Winds up, kicks in, double twisting, double back. And he does! He's got every 10th possible there.
That was a huge routine from Jake Jarman from Great Britain.
Wow, that felt, for me, one of the best high bar routines I've seen Jake do.
Well, Ruby's made a senior debut not long ago. Well, she's going to have to put all of the experience that she's had on the international stage into this routine. She has to deliver. Guaranteed a silver, but can Great Britain win gold in the first ever mixed team final? Let's find out.
Well, that was a lovely mount. The jump back to hold. She's an elegant gymnast. This is rather important, this spin. 1, 2. Well done, Ruby. Double spin. Good extension through the ankles. Good rhythm as she works. Lovely split in both those leaps. Now this is so important. It's always difficult. Flip, lay out, very smooth. Well done, Ruby. Second double spin, she's piling on the difficulty. Very nicely performed. I have to say, her execution, her toe point is quite improved. Good, strong on the free walkover.
She's still on.
Yes, she held it well.
Come on, Ruby.
Here we go, round off, double twist. Well, that was a really good routine from Ruby. Not so difficult as some, but she's clean and beautiful gymnastics.
I do think Ruby had a few less wobbles.
Well,
it is, I couldn't call it.
You can't call it. 25.566 is the score that Great Britain have to beat. It's Germany who take the gold. Great Britain finish with a silver medal. Just a 10th in it.
But what a great competition, and like move for move, gymnast for gymnast.
Yeah.
You couldn't have written it better, really.
Just a 10th in it, and there is Jake Jarman and Ruby Evans receiving the silver medal. But it's fair enough that Germany won the gold. I mean, it was they were good enough to put on the trial event in the mixed team final. But there we are, Schumacher with her second gold after vault that she's just won there. But in general, I mean, there's a lot of talk in the gymnastics world about this mixed team final. Beth, what were your thoughts on it to start with? And then Sam will come to you for yours.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching it. I'm still in two minds of whether for that last round, whether all 4 teams should be going up together, because I'm not sure that gold and silver, if one falls, you guaranteed a silver. Actually, I'd quite like to see all 4 battling it out. But
yes, because actually the Italians ended up with a higher score.
They did,
and
the French, I think, in the end. So actually, I think I'd quite like to see that. Obviously, it is going to be tweaked. It's going to be used for LA 2028. But I really like the format.
Yeah.
And also, should we have 2 women and 2 men rather than just 1? It seems when you've got a whole team of 10 gymnasts out in Germany at the minute and you're only using 1 gymnast.
Yeah, you see, I quite like the tactical side of it because, you know, you've got all those finals where you traditionally have them all competing for gold, silver or bronze, but actually the tactics come into it and actually getting into the gold medal match. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of gymnastics has to happen in the previous round, Sam. I mean, it was new to you too. Would you have loved to have taken part in something like this?
I actually took part in a format like that. There's a famous competition in Switzerland called the Swiss Cup, which I think they've replicated. And I took part in that competition, competing with a Team GB female gymnast. And the tactics are so interesting. Do I do my best event first to get to the next round?
Yeah.
Do I save it for the final? So
what did you do?
That. I went for my best event in the first round, because in that competition they let you do your best event twice. So my hope was, if I get to the final, do high bar again.
Yeah,
in
but
the end,
this
we
one
didn't.
You can't.
We never made it through to the final, but it was interesting. Jake tweeted, "Can someone explain the rules to me?" So that just shows you that it's quite hard for even the gymnast to know what's going on. But I think over time they'll learn.
Yes.
And I like the fact that it's maybe going to introduce gymnastics audience that maybe normally follow women's gymnastics to the men, and
good
men
point.
to the women. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, and I just like the fact that tactics come into play and you decide, right, I'm going to go, because then even if you fall, you end up winning a silver medal in the gold medal match.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of tactics. We were discussing it before the event started, actually. Should they go with the best apparatus first to guarantee you getting through? But then you need that score. And I have heard more recently that if the women did vault in the last rotation, they had to do 2 vaults, which not many girls will have 2 vaults ready and raring to go.
And should they mix up the apparatus as well? Should you not know before you turn up what's going to be, in the
pull it out of a hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. I'm sure the other nations, from around the world are also watching, because this is going to be an event in LA, and they're going, right, this is a test run. How are people going to approach this competition? What is the best tactics? But I like it. I think it's something new, and I think the sport needs it.
I do, and I loved some of the images that we saw there of the male and the female gymnasts celebrating together in that camaraderie. It was a bit awkward at times for some of them, do you know what I mean? They were like, how do we celebrate? Do we shake hands? Do we high five? Can we hug?
It's not often that you're having to collaborate on tactics. Obviously, the men's team will work together very closely on the team event and the women, but it's very rare that the men and the women are having to work together and the coaches having to kind of say, right, what pieces do we need to do to match our scores to be able to get through to the next rotation? But yeah, I did like the comments from the gymnasts kind of saying, we just kind of went with it because we didn't really know what was happening. So I think it is new for everyone. It will get tweaked ahead of LA.
Yeah, well, I'm just keeping my eye on the arena out in Leipzig. I can see the pommel horse gymnasts are just warming up because the pommel horse final is next in Leipzig. And over the last decade, Great Britain have been renowned for their pommel horse work. There are no British finalists in this one today. Are you surprised by that, Sam?
Yeah, it seems like it's the end of an era in many ways and a new chapter. I can't remember a major championships where we've not had Lewis Smith, Max Whitlock or Daniel Keatons fighting for medals on the podium on the pommel horse. Yeah. So we've almost become a nation of floor workers and vaulters and ring specialists, and maybe some of the other apparatus that in the past we've really excelled on, we're not as strong at. But I think we do have pommel horse workers. I was at the British Championships earlier this year. We had some great pommel horse workers. Jamie Lewis did a great routine yesterday.
In the all-round, yeah, he did. He really
and was brilliant as a junior on pommel horse. So I still think we're going to be back there contending. I think it's very interesting, this final. We're going to be introduced to some new gymnasts. The two Armenian gymnasts are doing incredible routines, and Hamlet is picking up gold medals all over the place at the moment.
Yeah. Mamikon and Hamlet, they are definitely kind of favourites here. But it's going to be an interesting final because we were talking about, they're still warming up here, by the way, this is not competition. But again, because there's now 8 moves, these routines are a lot shorter than they used to be.
Yeah, and it's really, particularly on the pommel horse, I think it's made the routines more diverse, which is exciting for the viewer and the spectator. Yeah. I know that there'll be gymnasts at home, one in particular from Ireland, watching this new generation.
Reece McClenaghan, he's not here. He's not here. He's been doing his dancing and all of that business, but he's got every single title going, so you can have a year off, can't he?
Yeah, I mean, he posted that he's got an injury, so obviously we're wishing him well with that. But I'm sure he'll be watching closely to kind of see how this new format works with the 10 down to the 8.
And waving goodbye to his title as we get on with this final here. This is Gabriel Targhetta. He's the second highest qualifier for this pommel horse final. He's just 19 years old, so we'll hand over to Craig Heap and Christine Still in the commentary box, and I'll come and join you.
Thanks, Matt. And we're just waiting on this first competitor to get this pommel horse final underway. This gymnast qualified in 2nd place. Lovely single leg work to start. Fabulous extension over the top of the pommel horse. Onto the one pommel. Just a little bit of a leg separation. But really good momentum. Gymnasts have to show fluid swing, and that's a very difficult skill. Oh, and he did well there. Well, great start. Really struggled a little bit at the end, and it looks a little bit confused as to what went on. Big routine.
Well, that was a very fresh performance from this young Italian gymnast. Absolutely physically suited to this apparatus. Lovely leg separation there, but a little bit loose around the knees, and he clipped the apparatus. All those things are bits the judges will deduct for. But lovely height. Beautiful control. And up, he struggled to get up into the handstand, but once he was there, he made full use of it. pirouetting and then snapping the legs together for the finish. He did not look delighted with himself at the end.
No, he didn't, did he? First ever European final, so I think he should cut himself a little bit of a slack. He's shaking his head.
You know, as coach, you sort of say to the gymnast, don't tell the judges you weren't pleased.
Yeah.
They might have thought it was good, so don't.
He's not had that memo at all,
Yeah.
has he?
No.
As long as he's not looking into the judge's eyes and shaking his head.
Well, 14.4.
Not too shoddy, I don't think.
No, 14.4. that may well still medal, and it would be a story if he could, because the last time the Italians were up on the medal podium in the pommel horse final was back in 2015. Busnari.
And he's the coach, actually, with the team.
Yeah. Robert Karames is next from Finland. He was also in the all-around competition. Scored 14.066 in qualification.
Good fluent start. Straight into building the difficulty on the one handle. That's a very difficult zone skill. Then on to the one handle. Come on, keep going.
Go on.
Go on. That's it. He's really recovered well. Forward travel, that's the Magyar. Backwards, Chavado. Winds up into the handstand. Full pirouette. Well, he did so well to stay on. I mean, you can tell, completely different look to the previous gymnast.
That's a joyful rescue on that face, isn't it?
And there's your Busnari.
.25 years old, Kermis. He's been in many a final.
Good technique here. The idea is you have to swing your body above the handles. When you brush like that, there's a little deduction from the judges. He fought well there into the dismount. I would have been surprised if that goes as high as 14.4, would you?
Oh, after that little moment in the middle, yeah.
And it was way down on his start value compared to the previous gymnast. He had a 5.4.
Well, he scored 13.1 in the all-round. So he probably had a similar experience.
Well, he hung on.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that when you have to recover like that, the extra strength and effort it takes, it really is zapping, and you get to the end of the routine and your arms are absolutely pumping with lactic acid. He did very well, smooth up into the handstand.
Well, he's had a tough programme from qualification. A lot of gymnastics and 6 pieces of apparatus in the all-around as well, and here he is, first day of individual apparatus finals. There's a thing, isn't it, of actually being match fit for the competition as well, because it's fair enough turning up and training through the week, but actually doing that body of routine, that number of stuff, and everything is designed to test the body in gymnastics.
Yeah, and these guys won't be having a day off in between the competitions. They'll be in the practice gym. He'll have gone through that routine 2-3 times yesterday.
Yeah.
And then they have to wait, so it's not just rocking up and performing the routine on the day, is it, Chris?
It's not, and it's always a big challenge to survive the competition. You know, from day, you have to be on song day one, otherwise you qualify for nothing. But you also want to still be there 7 days later, able to give of your best.
And try and win a medal, yeah.
So it's a taxing program. And I do think it's one of the things when the gymnasts first come into the senior ranks that they haven't really experienced before.
Yeah.
Because even when you go to junior Europeans, you don't have that sort of relentless amount of work.
And also you're away from home as well, and you're sleeping in a strange bed, and the food's different, you're doing different country. I mean, there's a lot to contend with. And these are youngsters, you know?
No, it's And that's why, really, when you've done it a few times and you know your experience and you become experienced, it does change it quite a lot for you.
Well, I think also my first experience at any competition was just sitting on the mat and watching everybody else in absolute awe of the people you've admired for years. And then your coach will come and tap you on the shoulder and go,
"You're up.
You need to get on."
13.433 for Kermis. It's not enough to go ahead of the Italian, so Gabriele Fogetta leads this competition on 14.5. 14.4, sorry. Yumin Abedini. He's been busy as well as Abedini. He was in the all-round. He scored 14.233 in qualification for this, so he could challenge here.
Well, it's a difficult start, breaks into the flares. Good separation. Always a favourite with the crowd. The half turn there, you need to be very fast with your hands. That's called a spindle. And again. Really does favour this move. Pirouettes into the dismount. Great routine. He'll be happy with that. He wanted to challenge his teammate.
Yes.
That'll score well.
I like his style on this apparatus. Very crisp in his performance.
Well, these two Armenian gymnasts that are coming up shortly are going to have something to say to the Italians. But it looks as if both the Italian lads are going to be in the top spot after this.
Perpetual motion this feels, doesn't it? Legs, arms.
I love seeing the flares back. They're crowd pleasers, aren't they? You could hear the whoops and hollers as soon as you went into them.
Definitely, they make a pommel horse look exciting. Some of the other work might be more difficult, but it hasn't got that same spectacular appeal about it.
And it also helps a little bit with the hand positioning as well, because the gymnasts, when they're travelling up and down the horse, they have to have the hands in parallel to each other. If they're slightly adrift, it's known as skewing, and you can pick up a tenth per circle, whereas if you're in the flare and you're moving, it's very difficult to catch them out on that. So it's a really good tactical move as well.
So will it be Italy 1 and 2 after that? Sure it will be, but will he go ahead of his teammate? Second it is for Yumin Abedini. So the young gun still leads with a score of 14.4.
He's starting to look happier by the minute.
Not much, Chris. Not much. He's probably spent too much time with Dave Murray in Leeds.
Is he going to get a floor goal now, is he? So Matvey Petrov next, the fourth highest qualifier. He was the European champion on this piece 5 years ago. Still going, good lad.
Well, he has got a really good double leg circle. Look at the extension at the front. You've got to keep pushing down on the pommel handle. Up into the handstand, he'll come back down. That's the Buznari skill. And he's breaking into the flare, so it's a very well-balanced routine. The forward travel, the Magyar. Look how close his hands are together. That's what the judges are looking for. Come on, up into the handstand, pirouette. Well done! What a routine!
That was fantastic. Don't know if it'll be enough to go into the lead, but he could certainly get up into second. Yes!
Well, interesting, I was reading about this guy. So he was actually coaching in gymnastics. He'd retired and realised as a coach he had so much free time. What was he going to do? So he started training because I'm not in bad shape. And then he made a comeback. So he'd retired, became the coach.
Wow.
And then look at him now.
Well, what a story this would be if he could get a medal here. It's going to be a tough ask for the 34-year-old. But we're on his side.
We are.
Well, his difficulty in qualification was 5.6, as opposed to the young Italian who had a 6 in difficulty. But this was really well executed.
Come on.
Well, I think it's good enough to go into the top 3. It would be absolutely amazing.
Well, he's celebrating every moment here, isn't he?
Let's see what they think.
I don't think it'll be enough to go into the lead either, but...
No, top 3, I think before, top 3. Let's go second. Top 3.
It is second, it's 14.366. Matvey Petrov, 34 years old.
He'll be back coaching Monday morning.
4 gymnasts left to go, but that's how things look after the first half. I tell you what, he's not far behind, is he?
He's not far at all.
No, less than 0.1.
We've got a couple of good gymnasts to come.
We've got,
as you
yes,
said,
the 2 Armenians are very good.
14.4, 14.5, 6.6.
Yeah.
And then the latter 2 qualified in 8th and 6th. So the real challenge for the top spot will be the next 2 gymnasts.
And they're young too.
17 and 18,
yeah,
keen.
Literally just out of the junior ranks. The work that's been going on. And no doubt training together, 17, 18, the Hamlet.
Well, these 2 guys will be pushing each other all the way.
Yeah.
You can tell with the warm-up, you know, just the style of these gymnasts, a very slender frame, which suits this piece of apparatus.
Yeah, you can move the handles of the pommel horse just so that they're shoulder width apart, or as you prefer, really. Makes it much easier to sense where the handle is behind your back when you keep replacing your hands on the handles.
Yeah, and some of the gymnasts that do skills between the handles would like them a little bit wider. If you do travels, obviously the wider they are, the further it is to travel. So it really is down to the gymnast preference and the construction of the routine. It does seem really funny, though. You were talking with the guys in the studio about not having somebody from Great Britain in the pommel horse final. We've not got Rhys McClenaghan, who would, you know, who's been outstanding. He's won everything. And this is like the new era of pommel horse workers. But I'm sure Rhys will be back.
Oh, no doubt.
And just enjoying that time.
Yeah.
But these are the guys who'll be inspired by what Rhys has done and want to follow in his footsteps, and got 3 years till LA.
So a strong medal bid will come now from this young lad. He's the first of the young Armenian gymnasts, 18-year-old Mamikon Kacharan. He scored a 14.4 in qualification. So, his first senior Europeans.
Great leg separation there. And he's not hanging about. Up into the flare handstand, back down.
Beautiful form.
Into the double leg circle. Very difficult skill there on the 1 pommel handle. And he's absolutely flying. This is a piece of apparatus where the faster you go, it's easier to balance. He's going to travel forward there. Look at the alignment on the hands. Forwards to Magyar, backwards to Shavado. Winds up into the handstand with the pirouette. Oh, for 17 years of age, what a routine. And I think for me, he's down a little bit on his difficulty, but execution, that's going to be really close.
It was dreamlike, wasn't it? I mean, he made it look effortless.
Wow, that was very exciting. I mean, pommel horse is not naturally an exciting piece of apparatus, but he made that look exciting. It had so much speed, so much flair.
Yeah, strong work from Khachatryan.
He really did whiz around, didn't he, from start to finish. He didn't look at all at any point tired.
No.
No, or at any point in danger of making an error. He just looked totally confident.
He looked very disappointed that he couldn't do 10 of his most difficult moves, not 8.
Well, he's probably thinking this. Well, for the juniors, you see, they do 8 moves anyhow.
Yeah.
So it's always a big step up from a junior to a senior to add those extra 2 moves. So actually, the new code will suit that transition. And he's got great flexibility. If you look in his handstand, he's almost in box splits.
Yes.
I really like that. For me, that's my favourite routine so far.
Well, his teammates to come, and his teammate beat him in qualification. But Mamikon Kharchatrian, he came here to do exactly that job. And Matvey Petrov, with all of his experience, is thinking, okay, see you later.
Well, he's twice their age.
Yeah.
Wow, what a score.
14.733. Kharchatrian goes into the lead.
Execution 9.033. I mean, that was a brilliant routine.
So it's over to his teammate now. Hamlet Manoukian, he's just 17 years old, but was the highest qualifier. What's he got in the locker?
Oh, and just look at the extension over the pommel horse. Gymnasts used to get scores for amplitude, and he's certainly got that look between the handles. A Russian Wendy swing. Stockley's on the one handle. He's going forwards. Gymnasts must do 2 travels forwards and backwards. Look at the hand placement.
This is mesmerising.
Up into the handstand with the pirouette. Well, if he's got more difficulty, and he only had a 5.6 in qualification, his teammate had a 5.7.
Oh, look at the energy. He wants to go again.
How do you split those 2?
Wow.
Share the gold.
To me, that was the winner.
Yes, I think so. That was just fantastic. His natural swing so high above the pommel horse.
Yeah.
His amplitude.
Yeah.
Is just marginally better.
So this lad, he was the junior world champion in 2023, and he's literally just arrived on the senior stage, and he's showing even the old ones how to do it. I mean, look at him. Effortless. I mean, he's quite sort of in the style of the way he works pommel horse. Very similar to the way the Chinese work pommel horse.
Yes.
Well, both these gymnasts have a very similar technique. If you look at the body frame, they're ideal. These guys won't be able to do a crucifix on the rings, that's for certain. But they are built for this piece of apparatus. And you're right, I think marginally he'll go into first place.
Going to be close, but what a performance from Hamlet Manoukian, a 17-year-old Armenian looking to knock his teammate Kharchatrian off the top spot. The score for him to beat is 14.733. It's going to be close. We know it's going to be close, but for me, he just pips it. He does. It's 14.766. He goes into the lead, but it's Armenia 1 and 2. And Targhetta of Italy at the moment is in third. There's still 2 more gymnasts left to go in this pommel final, but my word, those lads surely can't be beaten.
Well, that is sensational work.
Christianas Padigimas.
Another gymnast, very good position on the double leg circle, and that's difficult on the one handle again. That skill there really just put pressure on the wrist. Spin limb round the Stockleys, in between the handles. This is good, just a little bit loose in the hips. He'll travel backwards now, Shavado. That's the woo travel into a triple Russian on the end. This gymnast is going for the difficulty. Good, solid performance. He's happy with that. It won't challenge the top 2. but a very good performance nevertheless. Well done.
The Lithuanians celebrating being in this final amongst great company. Part of history, I'm sure, because those Armenian lads are going to be around for a long, long time, and they'll be like, I was in their first final at the Euros.
Well, an absolutely outstanding pommel horse final. And I would imagine the Armenian lads will challenge both the Chinese and the Japanese.
Oh, yes.
At the World Championships this year.
Well, they just came in so unassuming. Like, this is a pommel horse, I'm just going to rock up and bang out that routine. Was like,
Hamlet is 17 years old. I mean, what is he working on? Phenomenal.
Well, it is one of the apparatus that you don't, like rings, you don't gain the strength until you get older, but pommel horse is all about swing, isn't it?
Yeah, technique and swing and your body frame.
Yes, and so it probably is one of the pieces it's more possible to become very good at quite young.
Well, I bet you, Rhys McClenaghan, will be watching very closely.
Very closely indeed.
Yay, and he's enjoying himself. Manoukian. It's a 14.1 for the Lithuanian. Parigimas.
No wonder the Italian lad looked so downhearted after his couple of mistakes. He knew what was coming.
Yeah. Well, even if he went through, I don't think he would have challenged those routines.
No, but he had a 14.4 with a couple of mistakes.
Yeah.
So Hamlet Manoukian leads his teammate Kachatrian in second. Third at the moment is the Italian Targeta. This is the last gymnast, Gregor Rakovic of Slovenia, 20 years old.
No problems there, straight into the handstand. Another gymnast with a good body position. Just a little bit of a sink in the hips there. Keep the momentum, drive the heels. Great balance. Fantastic control there on the travel. And again, lots of original work, forward travel Magyar and backwards with the Shimado. Just needs a good dismount to wind it up. Ooh, a little bit of a hesitation, but good solid routine. First ever European pommel final for this young man. He'll be pleased with that one, Christine.
He will, and it was a very nice routine, just a bit of a struggle on that final couple of elements that will lose him marks, but what a pommel horse final.
Well, I've just, as performances go of the championship so far, those two boys really have impressed me.
The two boys on pommel and the two boys on floor as well.
Yes.
Good extension through the swing.
He's a very compact gymnast. It looks like he's got a good frame for the all-around competition, quite muscular in the shoulders. And the problem is, if you've got, you know, quite big shoulders like this, as you get to the end of the routine, you know, it saps your energy, where the young lads from Armenia just looked as fresh at the end as they did at the start.
Yes, they're just complete specialists, aren't they, on an apparatus?
I think the top three won't change. Score comes in 14.233 for Gregor Rakovic of Slovenia.
What a young group of medal winners here.
And great result for the 34-year-old Petrov. Just pipped out into fourth place. But there is the new European pommel horse champion, Hamlet Manoukian of Armenia. He looks a bit happier now as well, doesn't he, Christine? He's got a medal.
Well, yes, and he obviously did know these young superstars are there, and he'll be delighted to be in the medals with them, I would imagine.
Yeah, what a pommel horse final that was. Very emphatic win. So first place, the gold medal, and the newly crowned European pommel horse champion from Armenia is Hamlet Manoukian. Silver to his teammate, just a little bit behind, Mamikon Kachiran. And the bronze medal to the Italian Gabriele Zarghetta.
It certainly wasn't a tragedy for Hamlet, was it? I mean, that is the new name in the pommel horse world, Manoukian. I mean, it was, for me, it was just mesmerising to watch. It was so beautiful, the way he just works his way around the pommel horse, never in doubt. The tempo, the style, everything, Sam.
I think we're really seeing, Matt, the change in the code of points and those athletes being able to do 8 skills instead of 10, really benefiting those juniors being able to step straight into the senior ranks. And this performance reminded me very much of Zhao Qin, the Chinese pommel horse worker, that was incredible between the years of Athens up to Beijing. But his style and his toe point is just something special.
It's that extension, isn't it, at the front, and just the rhythm that he's got, Beth, as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch. It's you're not thinking at any time, is he going to bash the side of the pommels, whereas some of them, sometimes they catch it. So, yeah, from a non-pommel specialist, for me, that was the routine to watch.
Similar style as well to Rhys McClenaghan, because he has a very good extension, doesn't he, in that way. But I mean, he was junior world champion last year, and he's come up, and he will probably doing it. I mean, my question in commentary was, what's he working on now? Because you know that he's got so far to go, and a career that with pommel horse can last a long, long time.
And I think he's really benefited from Davtian, the vault specialist, who is also an all-arounder, and seeing his progress and the journey that him and the coaching team have been on, because it's the same coaching team. I think these younger Armenian gymnasts are benefiting from that, and they're going to be a real problem in the all-around, not just the pommel horse, because I've seen him on rings. He's incredible on rings as well, and they're two apparatus you wouldn't normally put together, so very, very exciting for the future of Armenian gymnastics.
Yeah, well, we'll have a little look at his teammate, Karchatrian, who went first, and we wondered if he could be beaten. But again, Beth, it's, you know, whatever they're doing it together, aren't they? Because they've got a very similar tempo, and the speed and the way they approach the routine is very similar.
Yeah, I mean, the execution is fabulous to watch. As soon as you put both of them side by side, it's that extension of the hips, the smoothness, and just a very clean exercise. But with that, they have also got the difficulty at a young age. But I think Sam hit the nail on the head. The fact that juniors normally take a couple of years to step into seniors because they've got to change their routines to get into that 10 skills, whereas now you can pretty much take your junior routine and put it straight into the senior ranks.
Yeah, and pommel is an interesting one, Sam. I'm sure you'll agree with this, that you can get good when you're young. You know, doing those endless circles and, you know, Magyar travels up and down the pommel horse. And so you can fit quite well in the senior ranks quite quickly, as opposed to something where you need with rings and you need that more mature strength, don't you?
Exactly, Matt. I mean, pommel horse is that apparatus where you can just do the numbers from a very young age. But, you know, trying to train the vault or the rings, you really are relying on growing into your body in many ways. Whereas on the pommel horse, you know, I think back to Max and him coming up through the junior ranks, stepping straight into those senior ranks, he's just able to put those numbers in because you don't necessarily rely on needing that physical strength on that apparatus. It's more about what you're doing upstairs mentally. And
also you can really work on your execution, can't you? The basics, because that's the key with pommel horse. I mean, both of the Armenian lads had execution of 9.
Yeah, I mean, to score an execution of 9 on any apparatus is incredible. On pommel horse, you know, it's traditionally a very, very difficult apparatus to compete on.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is that might be the first final we've had for a very long time where all 3 medalists are teenagers. I can't remember a final where we've had that. And you know, when you step up to the pommel horse, it's similar to the beam for the women. It's a bit like taking a penalty. You can you get a feeling from someone's demeanour. You kind of know, oh, I feel confident he's going to score the penalty. It's the same way I feel about a pommel horse routine. And those 2 gymnasts, I was very confident they were going to hit.
Yeah, I didn't have the same face when I used to step up to pommel horse. It was a tragedy as far as I was concerned. But anyway, this is the first major championship for the British team as they start to take their first steps towards potential medals in LA in 2028.
LA 2028.
That's the target, that's the main goal. I'm working towards that every day.
We've got a new code of points in gymnastics, so the routines will look slightly different.
You know, it's dropped from 10 to 8 skills. There's new balances on floor, there's new structures for your routines on rings. I feel like I'm definitely in that sort of LA zone now.
Success in LA would be...
I think a team medal, definitely. I think to beat USA on their home soil would be, that'd be good.
There's still a lot of really big things that I want to achieve. I want to get a couple more medals, hopefully. I've got some new skills, some new upgrades, so I just want to show them and put them out there.
Hopefully I'd love to have all around, you know, top 3s, the team, individual medals. That'd be incredible success.
The dream of becoming an Olympic champion would be so special.
I've always said I'd like to win, like be Olympic champion on the rings and vault. I've got some promising upgrades coming. So if I just keep sticking to them up until that could be another, well, hopefully better than a bronze medal. And floor, just keep doing what I'm doing on floor. A few upgrades now, 3 finals, and hopefully a gold medal.
Well, they're definitely not short in confidence, which is wonderful to hear. And Sam, to be fair, that started with you guys. You know, 2012 when you went out there and you made everybody believe that it's possible for Great Britain to get an Olympic medal.
It was an incredible experience. Beth was there herself and won an Olympic medal there in London, and it was very special to be in and amongst a home crowd. I think I was 19 and I probably didn't quite realise how big the occasion was, which I think was a huge advantage for me at that time. But it really, I look at these young gymnasts now, and for me, it's the confidence and the mindset.
Yeah.
They expect themselves to go and win medals, and I think that's really exciting for the future.
And Beth, they've already won team gold this week, and just hearing Harry sort of going, I'd like to get another couple more medals, do you know what I mean? It's possible. And you know, for you being the ultimate trailblazer as far as British gymnastics is concerned, you know, before you, it wasn't really that possible to win a medal at that level, and you made it possible, and look at what's happened, that wake.
I think the expectation is there, but with that expectation comes the pressure, and that's the one thing that these gymnasts have probably got that we didn't have to deal with, because actually even when I'm out and about and people are like, oh, we saw the gymnast won, why didn't they win a medal? Because it's expected now. So I think that's a very different aspect that they're having to learn to cope with, is that pressure of going to a Worlds or a European and having to bring home a medal. Whereas actually these guys are stepping up to the mark with it, but having that belief within themselves, having the belief within the camp. And it's not just one gymnast that you're relying on. That whole team out there have the knowledge of each other to rely on, but also that expectation is shared. So they can help each other. A team medal, individual medals, all-around medals. And like Sam said earlier, Jake didn't even make the floor final. Not because he didn't make the floor final, because 2 British gymnasts pushed him out the final. So yeah, I think that helps, because the depth of the British team is making each one of them stronger, because they have to fight to even get into that team.
And it's a joy to say team now, because really back in your day, no disrespect to anybody, but you were pretty much going there on your own, weren't you? Like an individual, and you had people around you, but you weren't competing as a team member as such.
Yeah, you had a team. I absolutely had a team around me, and that's why I was able to achieve what I did. But we weren't going for team medals, whereas these guys started to pick up that medal. I mean, I was there when the men's won it in London, and it was such a historic moment for our sport and British gymnastics. And I think then the belief really started to come through. Actually, we can't just do it in Europe. Actually, what's stopping us to go to that 2015 Worlds where both the men's and the women's 2022 Worlds, both men and the women brought home team medals. So it's a great time to be a part of British gymnastics.
Yeah, and that camaraderie, Sam, does that come from, I mean, obviously you're doing endless stuff together and you're risking a lot together as well, and you're helping each other, you're pushing each other forward. But when you go there and it all pays off in an arena like that, I mean, the way that must glue you together, I mean, the bond that you have with that team from 2012, you know, I guess you can't really put it into words.
There's nothing like a team final, because when you go up there and you put your hand up and you have to do a routine, it's not just your career on the line, it's all of those gymnasts that are sat down there, so the pressure is so intense. But I think Beth made a great point. When we were going out there 10, 15 years ago, we were making history a lot of the time, so that expectation wasn't there, so we were very much the underdogs, whereas this new generation, everyone expects them to come back with medals, and a lot of the time gold medals. So that is something that they're having to deal with that maybe we didn't, and certainly me. But yeah, Beth certainly was the trailblazer. 6 European gold medals. And she was very much doing it on her own before Lewis and Dan came along and shared that burden somewhat.
And I mean, we call it men's and women's gymnastics, but you know, you guys were so young when it happened as well. And when you look back now at the stage you're at in your lives and you think like, how did I do that? I mean, does that enter your mind?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a lifetime ago, but I think if you speak to any of the athletes, the support network around them, there's a huge shout out for every gymnast within the British team. It's the coaches, the home clubs that are constantly training them, supporting them, picking them up when it doesn't quite go wrong. I mean, I know the amount of times my coach kind of had to console me when the result didn't quite go right, but also were there then to celebrate. I mean, the setup, we've just seen the video about Leeds Gymnastics. A lot of that, they looked up to Niall Wilson. He was their role model. He was in the gym every day and they're looking at him thinking, he's achieving that. Why can't I? I'm in the same club, I'm seeing him training. What is it that he's doing and why can't I achieve that too? So that always brings in that belief, and then having that coaching support network behind you that have that experience to be able to bring them through.
Yeah. So do you, I mean, we all have high hopes. We all keep everything crossed when something like an Olympics is coming up. But, you know, it's a long way, isn't it? 4 years, because actually the last Olympics, they only had 3 years because of the COVID. So it's a big old build-up, this one, Sam.
Yeah, it's going to feel like a long Olympic cycle, particularly for those guys that will be looking to compete at multiple games. They've competed in Paris and maybe even in Tokyo as well. They'll really be thinking strategically about how do I play this next 4 years to make sure that when the time comes and I have to do the Olympic trials for LA, I'm on that team. So they'll be really talking with their coaches and thinking about it. And we talked about the mixed team being a strategy, but playing an Olympic cycle very much comes down to making the right decisions and in some regards putting yourself first at times to make sure you are one of those gymnasts that get that plane ticket to LA. But it's going to be incredible in LA 2028. I mean, we saw what happened in Paris. Gymnastics had a moment, so I think LA is going to be very special.
Yeah, well, we are now going to move on to Beth's favourite final now, because it's the uneven bars final, the final which you won 4 of your European titles in. As far as the code is concerned and what we're about to see here, Beth, what are the main changes, or is it quite similar?
Yeah, quite similar, but for me, to see Nina back, I mean, it's showing that gymnasts can have longevity within the sport now, and I think we're seeing that across the men's sport, but also the women's sport.
25 years old.
25, but we saw 2 girls in the vault final that were 30 and that was, I mean, I was considered old at 23, so I think it just shows actually that it can keep the longevity. Nina first won an Olympic title. She's had a bit of downtime, she's had injuries, and she is the front runner. Unfortunately, Germany will be hugely disappointed to lose Kevrich yesterday in the all-around on her first apparatus, to not have her. She was the front runner. So Nina is now the front runner. She was 0.5 ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah, and also we'll get a chance to see Esposito as well,
yes.
who took the gold. Another chance to see her. But there's Tonelli, who was one of the favourites actually for all around. She didn't have a great competition there, so she wants to try and make a mark here if she possibly can. But there's some strong contenders in this one. As you say, Nina Derwell will be very much going for a medal here. She was the Olympic champion back in 2020. She was the world champion in 2018 and 2019 as well. So we'll hand back to Craig and to Christine as the great Esposito there is just finishing chalking up. She's going to be the last in this group. As the top 4 are preparing to go, then there'll be a warm-up, and then the second 4 will go too. But enjoy this one, Beth, as we prepare just come to the final stage of the warm-up for the Women's European Bars Final.
Well, we're just watching the end of the warm-up here. First 4 gymnasts warm up and then compete. So they allowed a 50-second warm-up actually on the bars, but that has to include the time it takes to adjust the tension. There's a special tension gauge. You see the coach there on the chains checking the tension so that the bounce of the bars is uniform. Because he has to check all 4.
First gymnast getting prepared from Czechia, Vanessa Masova. There's a qualification score, 13.433. First major final for this gymnast. She'll be wanting to soak up as much of this experience as possible.
She has to wait for the green light to come on. Well, I think the judges are saying you've got 1 too many mats on the podium.
Well, if she lands on that one, is taken off, she's in trouble, Christine, because that's miles from the bars. Anyhow, the first gymnast onto the uneven bars, representing Czechia, Vanessa Masova.
Super handstand. Oh, a little split of the leg on the stall de fall and on the Shap half turn, but she swings beautifully. Lovely straight arms, lovely extension. Very high Jaeger somersault. She takes the, and she got the connection, the pack salto immediate, shoot back up to the high bar. Here comes this original dismount. Well, not original, but one we don't see very often. A shoot front in the straight position with a half turn. There were a few little errors early on, but she battled on through and made a clean routine. Swings beautifully.
Yeah, great start, and I absolutely love that dismount. But here we have from the start, the coaches there hovering in, are allowed to be around the bars. That's a difficult skill. You've got to have great flexibility. With the stoop in, the stall in, the full turn. Got great extension in the legs. That's a great shot. And look how pointed and stretched the toes are. The straddle front somersault, called the Jaeger. And this is a dismount. It is an unusual dismount. We don't see many. The straight front half turn, very original.
We quite often see that move done in the tuck position, the shoot front or the pike position, but
rarely the straight.
Rarely straight. She laid it out beautifully.
She's got a great line as well when she swings around the bars and hits the handstands.
Yeah, very smooth. I actually think she's a gymnast with a lot of potential, just 16 years of age. And so this will be her first senior year in competition. You have to be 16 in the year of competition to compete as a senior. And,
well, not bad. Is it the first year as a senior into a European bar final?
So, Masova scores a 13.5.
5.7 difficulty, quite a good difficulty score.
Zoya Sekai is next to go, Hungary. Sekai's got a silver medal at the Europeans 5 years ago. 22 years old now.
She also posted a high start score of 6. Lovely stoop in and out with a full pirouette. Immediate shap up to the high bar and back down to the low bar. Two very difficult elements, and now back up from the stall direction this time into the Ginga Salto. A little bit piked on the float after the Ginga, but that was a super half turn and a lovely high piked Jaeger somersault. Swing turn, that's a bit empty, but immediately into the full turning pirouette. Oh, what a shame. And straight into the full turning double back. That was such a lot of work in that routine.
Yeah, it's one of the most difficult routines in the final, that one. So such a shame with that dismount. That'll be costly with those steps to the side.
It was a shame because the routine, it was great construction. She's very neat in the transitions. She's got great flexibility. Look, legs together, just a little flicker there. This is a very difficult skill. Between the bars, the Ginga somersault, actually named after the great Eberhard Ginga from Germany. And she had some really good handstands. It's just a shame she did all that work, got to the end of the routine.
She did a pirouette just before the dismount, which gives her a bonus if you pirouette before you dismount. But she was very late with the pirouette and a little bit bent-armed on that. And I think, here we go, I think this might be the pirouette. And she, look, her hand was on really quite late, and that would probably have unsettled that dismount a little bit. But she looked like she'd landed reasonably and just sort of lost tension in the legs, didn't she?
Yeah, well, she was very central on the mat. And this is what comes with competition and experience of going, I just need to keep pressure in my legs. The number of gymnasts I've seen get to a dismount and automatically switch off. You've done the hardest bit. There's that sigh of relief. And then you just relax a little bit too much on the dismount.
13.2, what a shame for Zoya Sekai.
6 on difficulty, you're right.
Yeah,
A very big
difficult
routine, Matt.
Yeah. Sofia Tonelli of Italy next to go. 9th in the all-round competition. She's also got a beam final, and she's replacing Helen Kevrich.
There we go, full pirouette into the shap, and good catcher. That was what she missed in the last competition. And now a toe catcher. Lovely full stretch, immediately into the pack salto down to the low bar. And then back up to the high bar again. The swing half turn, up she goes. This is a well-constructed routine.
Hitting the handstands.
Very nicely. Here we come for the double front. Oh, but that was a deep landing as well. I think she just kept her hips off the floor, but it will be a bit of a deduction there.
Italians have really made this piece of apparatus their own, haven't they? And like you said, Christine, it's about constructing your routine carefully. Lovely toe on into the straddle Kachev. Immediately down to the low bar. That's the pack salto. Now some gymnasts will transfer straight back up. She takes an upstart.
Well, she qualified with a 5.9 difficulty, and then in the all-round was given a 5.7.
She fell on the first Kachev in the all-around competition, and really didn't settle again. But this time she got through cleanly. I was quite surprised, actually. That was a little bit untidy, wasn't it, with the feet at the back? But I was quite surprised that she landed so deeply.
It was a bit, we see a few of these dismounts, the double front somersault, just pulling in a bit close to the bar. It's very neat in the air. Often we see the gymnasts separate their legs. And you're right, Again, maybe just that little lack of concentration. Keep the tension in the legs. I mean, a good routine, but I don't think it'd be good enough to go into first. We shall see.
13.3 is enough for second at the moment. So Mashova leads on 13.5 from Czechia.
Well, we haven't seen an execution score into the 8s yet, so the judges are quite harsh on their deductions. On
Vicious, Christine, I would say. Vicious with the deductions.
One of the superstars of the European Championships here, Manila Esposito, 18 gold in the all-round.
Oh,
dear. Hey.
And that is her big skill. She went for absolute height and didn't quite have enough length. She got her hands on, but they were bent in half, her elbows, and she could not convert that. Here we are, look. She did, yeah, very well.
Yeah.
She nearly ended up in front support on the top bar.
Well, she's done well to regain her composure and carry on here.
Yes, Shap there into the full turning pack, and she does that very nicely indeed. Then the Shap half. She works with the apparatus so well. You can see her move the bar down, the full pirouette that you have to include. The invert swing, here comes the invert. Into the big double front dismount, just a little bit of a cowboy. Well, she continued well, but it won't be a medal on this piece today.
What a shame.
Actually, that's the first mistake she's made of the championships. And actually, we were talking the other day about how confident she was looking in competition, and it wasn't a case of getting through. But that is a hugely difficult skill, Christine, isn't it?
Yes, it's a real big skill, and it's new, this quad for her. I don't think she competed it at the Olympics, but look at that full turning pack.
That is a beautiful skill. And look at there, the body tension, legs locked together, toes pointed. And actually, this dismount's one of the few double fronts where I've not winced about how close they've got to the bar. Very well controlled, because it is that blind landing. You have to kick out at the right time.
So she won't have got the credit for the element. She won't get the value of the element, and she'll lose a mark as well. So that probably will have cost her 1.5 marks, that mistake. She'll be very happy that she didn't make that error in the all-around yesterday.
Absolutely. And she's still smiling, so that's good.
So Mashova has the golden score of 13.5. Sofia Tonelli from Italy, 13.3. And Zoya Sekai of Hungary currently in the bronze medal position with a score of 13.2. That one will definitely not challenge from Esposito due to that nasty fall. It's a 12.233. So the first 4 have been, and now there'll be a little warm-up for the second half, in which there'll actually be 5 competitors in. And the last gymnast to go in this final will be Naomi Vissa. You can see at the chalk bin at the side there, and she's certainly in with a shout of a medal as well, looking at these scores.
Yeah, we've got 2 really good bar workers to come. I'm sure the medal table will change as we progress through the second half of this bars final.
How much can you adjust the bars, Chris?
Well, you can put them in and out. Not many gymnasts do. There's a maximum width you're allowed to have them. So you can't have them just so wide that you don't have to make any shape change. And they won't go any wider than what you're allowed. But actually, if you're too tall, if you hit the mat as you swing, you're allowed to have them put up 1 or 2 notches. And in fact, one of the GB team, Ruby Stacey, has to have hers put up. So, which is quite difficult during a team competition because they have to be put up and down for the team. And what you are allowed is to adjust the tension so that the wires can be tighter or looser. And even within a team, you quite often have people wanting quite a different tension on the bars. So it's quite, you know, you're quite busy as a coach or a pair of coaches, making sure the mats are right, making sure the height's right, making sure the tension's right as well. So you can do quite a little bit of adjusting.
Adjustment, yeah.
Yeah.
There's Naomi Vissa, who's definitely one to watch and one to wait for.
Yeah. Recently, there's a tension gauge being put on the actual wires that you use. At one time, you would see the coaches putting on a gizmo that tells you the tension, but that's been taken away. And now there is a maximum tension you're allowed to have so that you can't wind them in so tight that they might pull the cables out of the floor. So the gymnasts are having to modify how tightly they're allowed to have the bars.
So Maisa Kuusikko of Finland continues this Women's European Bars final. She's the 4th highest qualifier, and she's scored 13.7 in qualification, 13.633 in the all-around competition. But this is one of the most difficult routines in the final.
So the Shap this time from a clear circle and very nicely. Oh, and she's got all those combinations. Look, she hasn't taken any extra swings yet. This is her first extra upstart handstand. She's really put the difficulty together. You have to do a full pirouette. That she did on the low bar and just a tiny bit late. But she's been very efficient here. She winds up for a good double straight dismount. That she maximised that routine. Just perhaps at the end she had to take an extra upstart handstand, but she'll be absolutely thrilled with that routine.
Well, this would be some story here because Finland have never won a medal at the Europeans on bars.
Wowzers. She did well at the start. There was absolutely no free swings, but towards the end, you're right, she took a couple of upstarts. It's not deduction, but obviously every extra skill you take is the potential for a deduction.
She would have hoped to get her feet on after that pirouette, and she was just a bit too late, so had to add a little extra move in.
It was packed with difficulty, and I don't know, major deductions, Chris?
Well, I mean, not really too much. She's pretty efficient on this. Little things like the bent arms on the giants.
But nothing major at all, eh?
No, she was...
Little bits here and there throughout the routine. But like you say, for Finland, if they could get their first ever European medal, that would be something.
Well, there's no reason why she shouldn't match her all-around score at the least, and then that would take her into the lead.
What you feeling, Matt? Do you think it will?
Yeah, no reason why not.
She maximised her performance, which none of the other gymnasts have.
There you go, 13.6. She's in the lead for now.
Move over, judges. Matt Baker's in the seat.
Well, I mean, this is big news for Finland because there are other gymnasts left to come. There are 2 that I think can really challenge, and looking at the scores, we're looking at Nina Derwal, who is next up, and also Naomi Vissa. So a nervous wait for Kuusikko of Finland. Can she win Finland's first ever medal? But for now, Nina Derwal, Olympic champion from Tokyo,
double world champion, double European champion.
Now this is a packed routine. We start with the Kachev half turn, immediately Shap up to the high bar, and then Pak Salto, again a toe on Shap up. So we haven't had any extra upstart handstands. Here the upstart handstand, that's the first one. Now she makes the Shap half out of that. The full pirouette, which you have to have into the full twisting dismount. Wow, that was a world champion's routine there. Absolutely packed.
It was packed with difficulty as well as beautiful execution. She was awarded a 6.3 for difficulty in qualification. But look at the height.
Well, I think that might be European title number 3 without even seeing the last few gymnasts. I mean, what's great about this routine is the way she links skill to skill. That saves the judges putting the pen to the paper and making deductions. There was a couple of times there when she was on a bit of fingertips, and I thought, oh, that's going to be a bit of a stretch, but I mean, a joy to watch and a great to have her back.
Yeah.
I mean, at 25 years of age, banging out a routine like that. I mean, very well constructed.
Judged to perfection, that dismount, wasn't it? It give enough height, and although it was close, it wasn't too close.
No, she put the full pirouette into the dismount, gives you some bonus points. I mean, really, that's how she builds her difficulty, through linking all those elements together. I think we'll have a new leader.
I think you could be right, Chris, but by how much?
Oh, it's huge. It's 14.466. Nina Derwell goes into the lead.
Only gymnast so far to get into the 8th for execution with a huge 6.3 difficulty.
Ana Barbosu of Romania next to go, 18 years old. Got a bronze in the all-round competition a few days ago. She's also in the beam and the floor final as well.
And here, great half turn. I love the way she does that, but you see she wasn't able to immediately put her feet on and go into the next element. But that was very good, although the pirouette was just a little bit late. Pak Salto down to the low bar. Up with a half turn. Swinging very nicely indeed, hitting her handstands. Swinging up into the full twisting double back. Another great routine from Barbosu. She's made big strides here.
She has indeed. I think the difference that separates that and the previous routine was just the extra long swings and skills between. But, I mean, it used to be a real Achilles heel. But not anymore.
She's been a big success this championships.
She has. That was the one you picked out a little bit late there on the full turn. And then takes the extra long swing to shuffle along the bars. There, down into the Pak Salto. Good leg tension. Big stretch on the Shap to the high bar. Very difficult. There's not many gymnasts, actually, Christine, that swing back from that and can keep the heels and feet together.
No, it's something you have to spend a lot of time rehearsing, especially when you do one of those Shaps right at in the middle of the routine, or towards the end of the routine. It's called a Shap after Shaposhnikova, who was a Soviet gymnast who did it for the first time. And if you look in your code of points, you'll find it described as a Shaposhnikova.
13.766. Barbosu of Romania smiles all round into silver. So there's your top 3.
Well, we have one more gymnast to go, or two more gymnasts to go, because there are actually 9 in this final. There was a tie.
Penultimate gymnast for Hungary, Dina Lily Tifra.
Hungary have been very well represented here, and she has lots of energy in those elements. Now that full pirouette was right on top of the bar, immediately into the Kachev and immediately into the toe on and off. Another Shap. Oh, that was a very nice combination. Half turn into the double front. Actually, that was a really interesting routine. She used the uprise action in a couple of occasions, and that could be, it's a 5-7 difficulty. That could be challenging a little bit.
Well, 13.6 is currently the bronze for Finland's Kusiko.
Yes,
it was really precise, wasn't it?
It was a 5-7 difficulty in qualification, so if she hit the same, and it looked like she did the planned routine.
Lovely height there, installed it into the Kachev. I think she's one of the few gymnasts actually that swung back after the Shap and kept the legs and feet together and hit some really good handstands and finishing with that very difficult double front. Look there, can we see back? One of the only ones with the feet glued together there, Chris.
And look how precise at the finish of the full pirouette.
I'd like to see that go up into 3rd place, actually.
She did very well to get those feet on. And although she just did a toe on and off, it meant she didn't have to do an extra handstand. So Hungary delighted with that performance. We have to wait and see, but it was a well-executed routine.
It was, and great to have 2 Hungarians in this bars final. It's this nervous wait. Do the judges think it's good enough? Durwell well in the lead with 14.666. Oh, and it's good, 14.1 for Bettina Lily Tifra of Hungary.
6-1 difficulty.
So the Hungarian then goes into 2nd. Naomi Visser will be next up, but while she's chalking up, we're going to be heading over to iPlayer to continue the competition, because basically we've run out of time here on BBC Two for you. But Beth, as a world champion bar worker yourself, thoughts so far on that, and obviously the return of Nina Dervwell as well?
Yeah, it was really nice to see that routine. You can see the difference between her routine where everything is connected versus the gymnasts that are having those extra upstart handstands, and that's the difficulty score dropping and the execution. The less skills you've got, the less opportunity for the judges to take away the marks.
OK, well, we're going to head over to iPlayer, as I say now, for the men's rings final, as well as the final competitors of the uneven bars final. We'll give you time to come and join us, and we will be back on BBC Two at midday tomorrow for the final Apparatus finals. Jake Jarman, Ruby Evans, Harry Hepworth and Courtney Tulloch will be in action. So do hit your red button if you can, and head to iPlayer for the final event of today's competition. Richard Osman will not mind if you miss House of Games just this once. We promise you it will be worth it. And don't forget to join us again tomorrow for the last day of the European Gymnastics Championships. There's a lot of finals that we're looking forward to, and medal hopes too. Ruby Evans on the floor, obviously something you're going to look forward to too. But Sam, for now, thank you so much. Beth as well. Hopefully we'll see you over on iPlayer in a couple of seconds. Bye-bye.